All right, everybody, here we go. Today is Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. My name is Robb Carter. Welcome to the future, #1 podcast in America. Well, we got a lot to get to today. Big show yesterday. I got great reviews on the show yesterday. It's funny how they all work out, like the amount of people that watch them and so forth and so on. It seems incredibly random to me. But we got great feedback from the show yesterday. Got another great show scheduled today. We'll have Aaron Baker on. He is running against Randy Fine in the 6th Congressional District down in Florida. If you've not been paying attention to Randy Fine, he is quite the character. He's
not so fine.
He's very, very pro-Israel. I mean, very pro-Israel, almost so much that he doesn't really care about what goes on in America. That's how much he is pro-Israel. So we'll talk to Aaron Baker about his race. He's from my hometown. So he'll actually be in DeLand, Florida here before too terribly long, and I'll be there. And I mean my hometown now. I'm a Missourian. Let's be honest. Everybody knows what's going on. People try to give me trouble about it, and I said I had to escape Missouri because of the tax situation at the time, and I was going through a divorce. I just couldn't afford to have 2 homes, one in Florida and one in Missouri. So we went to Florida for tax implications, and now I roam back and forth between Florida and Missouri. I think everybody knows that, but if you don't, that's the way it's rolling. So anyway, Aaron Baker, 6th Congressional District. He's running against Randy Fine. Be interesting to see what he thinks of Randy Fine. And then we'll have Michael Castellero on at what time we have him on, at 11 or 10?
I think he's on at 10.
Michael? Is he on at 10 and then Aaron's on at 11? Okay, so we'll have Michael Castellero on at 10. Just a crazy story. He reached out to me. Ann Vandersteel just made a video about it. He claims prosecutorial corruption, and basically they went after him. They're trying to withhold information from him, and that's why they went after him criminally. And he now faces prison time for something he says is just a complete charade. And it's, listen, I don't know the markets well enough to know what is going on necessarily. I just know that it fits a pattern of corruption that's going on in this country. You got what's going on now in America, in my opinion, is that very powerful people have control of the wheel, and they like to use that power against the people. If the people get in the way, it's like they get caught up in the spokes, and nobody seems to fight for them. Nobody seems to care. We had somebody got after us the other day on Rumble because of Jeffrey Weinstein. We talk about Jeff Weinstein all the time on this show.
Winehouse.
Winehouse. Good Lord. Thank you. Why was I thinking Weinstein? I was thinking Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein, yep.
Jeffrey Winehouse. In fact, I talked to Jeff yesterday, and this guy's like, you're not helping him either. I'm like, I'm doing what he's asking me to do. What are you talking about? It's just like, no matter what you do, somebody gets angry with you.
You're never doing enough, Rob.
You can never do enough. I was just talking to Jeff yesterday, and I'm telling him what we're trying to get accomplished. This all happened out in Franklin County. We'll be at Franklin County at Moe's Pizza. We'll be talking to his son, and we'll be talking about Jeffrey Winehouse on May the 5th at Moe's Pizza, a landmark in Washington, Missouri. So
that's right. Should we do a quick ad read for Moe's Pizza?
We can do Moe's Pizza real fast because I might as well tell the story here. So on May the 5th, we'll be out there. We are buying lunch for the first 50 people that show up. I believe he's beginning to promote that at his place.
Yeah,
so we'll buy lunch.
Flyer up here.
And it's got to be lunch-wise, just for people that are paying attention. I talked to Mike Johns yesterday. He is the owner. Him and his wife own Moe's Pizza. And he said, Rob, it has to be the buffet. It has to be the pizza salad buffet, because if, we have 150 people in line for 50 free lunches, he said it's going to, if we have to make sandwiches, it's going to be impossible. So we have to keep it to the pizza and salad bar. They'll be rocking and rolling. First 50 people on May the 5th. I think we can able to get in and they begin serving food at 11. All right. So if you're interested in that,
you broke up a little bit. What was that? We get in at what?
You can get in at 9 to watch the show, 9 to noon. So you can watch the show live. You and I will be there doing a live show. Food comes out at 11 o'clock, and then you'll have to filter back into the dining room, and then we'll be all over the screen. So you don't necessarily have to be right next to us. You can watch us on the screens at Moe's Pizza. He's got television sets everywhere. Okay. And if we're going to do Moe's Pizza, pop it up there real fast.
Go ahead. Let's do it.
And I just talked to him yesterday. He's playing golf with his grandkids, my kind of guy. Mike Johns and Mike and Brenda are just the best. If you like a family environment, pizza and salad bar, delicious sandwiches, chicken wings, and the best ice cream. I think Everett Jones from Jones Air and Water is going to buy ice cream for everybody on that day as well. So it's going to be
awesome.
We're giving back to the community of Franklin County because they have been so good to us, along with Moe's Pizza. So very quickly, it's a landmark in Washington, Missouri. God owns a place. He just works there. Get out to Moe's Pizza every day except for Monday, and enjoy yourselves out there. Just really, really good people. And for anybody that has any kind of get-together, whether it be birthday parties, political meetings, anniversaries, you name it. Any kind of get together, Moe's Pizza will take care of you. They got a banquet space available. Just get out there, enjoy it, support our sponsors who support us, and support free speech, because believe me when I tell you, not everybody likes what we have to say. Would you agree with that, Isaiah? Not everybody.
Very true.
Well, what we've got to say, we have people coming at us from everywhere. People telling me to be careful all the time. I don't think that that's necessary. To you, Isaiah? I don't feel that way at all. I don't think the pushback against us is violent. I think the pushback is political, and political people get hot, as do I. Those people who want those AI data centers because they're going to do so much good for the people of Missouri, they don't like when I push back against that. They don't like when we question this income tax restructuring where we're going to pay usage and sales tax. I don't even know if it's a good bill because I don't know what's in the bill just yet. We've given the government of Missouri 5 years to determine how they want to play this game, and they put guardrails up apparently, but they are suspending the Constitution for 5 years. Wait a minute.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
For 5 years, they're suspending the Constitution, as one of our posters on People's Lobby Missouri put. If they said, you know what, we're going to restrict your freedom of speech for 5 years, we're going to figure out how to do freedom of speech, and for 5 years, we're going to figure out what that looks like. Would you do it? No. If they said for 5 years, we're going to suspend the Constitution and we're going to take your guns away from you until we figure out what we want to do with our guns. Would you do it? No. But in Missouri, the Republican Party has no problem with suspending the Constitution of Missouri so they can figure out how they want to organize taxes for growth. Of course, it's always about growth, corporate money, growth, corporate money, growth, corporate money. That seems to be what leads both parties, but the Republican Party is in charge. This is just my opinion. Still free to have an opinion?
I think so.
Check it out real fast. Can you just check it out somewhere? I just want to make sure that it's still free to have an opinion, because I think Mark Levin and these guys.
Mark Levin said no.
Mark Levin says no. We'll talk about him in just a minute, because he thinks that free speech should be limited.
Oh, wait. This just in. Fox and Friends says no either.
Fox and Friends says too much free speech going on?
Yeah.
Just a little bit too much free speech. Okay. Let me start here before we get into the show. So again, Aaron Baker, he's at 11.
Did you want to promote the event here?
Well, there it is on the screen. Moe's Pizza, free lunch, everything we just talked about, sponsored by People's Lobby. So it's all just there. You can see the flyer on the screen. That'll be in the Moe's Pizza monitors and everything else. So Moe's Pizza, May 5th, Tuesday, May 5th. Isaiah and I will do a live show from Moe's Pizza. Doors open at 9 if you want to watch the show. If you want to get free food, that starts at 11:50. The first 50 that come in, free lunch, sponsored by peopleslobbymo.com. And I guess I should say, if you want to donate to peopleslobbymo.com, that money stays on that side of the fence. I got to be very careful. We're not commingling money. So somebody said, be careful. The MEC will come after you. We will keep all People's Lobby money to market, build our infrastructure, and get the message out so that we have a conversation with the people running Missouri. And
that's all we want.
That's all we want. We just want to be involved in the conversation. We want to see how you respond to our conversations. Then we'll monitor how you behave in the House and the Senate, which is what we're supposed to do. You guys should want us to do that. And when you're doing good things, we'll tell you. When we're doing some things that we don't understand, we're going to ask. And when you're doing things that go against the better interest of the people of Missouri, we're going to inform people. So all we're looking for, peopleslobbymo.com, peopleslobbymo.com. Go in, sign up. We're going to start May 4th. Everything begins. That's when we'll start sending out all. That's when we'll start sending out all of the information. We'll be in contact with donors. I think I've been very lax on that. I've been so just hyper focused on getting the show off the ground, even when it was on the radio, just really getting the message out there. And I apologize to some of the donors that I have not been in contact with you, but that's coming. I promise you. And I will take care of you. And I appreciate every single nickel that comes our way. All right, let's get to the show. Let's start here. Let's just start with Charlie Kirk, because it's going to set the table for the show. This is what he had to say when you push back against the powerful in this country at this moment. Now, this was when he was alive, so he was very prophetic when he said, you better be careful when you push back against the power in this country. Clip number 4.
Let's do it.
Is a two-tier justice system where the ruling class is allowed to do things that you and I are not allowed to do. And anyone that challenges the ruling class, they're going to throw everything they have at you. And so we could complain about it, or we could try to fix it and try to expose it, which is obviously, what why life's work is in.
Which is obviously what got him killed, in my opinion. Charlie Kirk was the real deal. Charlie Kirk was somebody who said, who changed his opinion, much as I do, much as you do on occasion, right? You see things that change your opinion, and you're not so stuck to any ideology. You're stuck to trying to do the right thing by the Lord up above. You're just trying to do the right thing. And Charlie Kirk had a change of direction in what he was preaching. And I believe that was the beginning of the end for Charlie Kirk. As you can tell, the people in the establishment, they had the big get together down there in Arizona after he passed away, the big memorial. Mm-hmm. And now you got Eric Kirk going the exact opposite direction as he was going. You have people fleeing away from Turning Point USA and telling you why they're doing it because they don't believe the direction that they're taking now is what they signed up for with Charlie. And as he said, it's a two-tier justice system. That's why we'll have Mike Castellero on. Jeffrey Winehouse figured that out, right? Jeffrey Winehouse was executed in public, shot 4 times, twice in the chest, twice in the head. He got captured it on video. Everybody knows that the charges against him are completely ridiculous, and yet he's been in prison for 13 years. It'll be 14 years in November, and nobody's coming to his rescue. Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad? And then one other thing I want to get to, because we're going to talk about what's going on with this Ford truck video that everybody is talking about. Thomas Massey spoke out about they have kill switches now in your automobiles. They have so much tech in your automobiles now. And when you read through the fine print, what they're doing is they're surveilling you in your car. They're surveilling your conversations. They're keeping an eye on you. They're tracking where you go. And it's being kept probably in an AI data center because the government needs to know what you're doing at all times. If you're talking to your wife, they need to know what you're saying, don't they? I mean, shouldn't the government be able to listen to what you're saying to your wife in the car? Shouldn't they be able to track you every single place that you're going? I mean, isn't that just natural? Isn't that what the state is supposed to do, is to monitor every move that you make all the time? I mean, good Lord, the Republicans know it. That's why they want those AI data centers in pronto. By the way, Isaiah, I don't know if you're paying attention to social media, but Donald Trump and his group of propagandists on social media are pushing for this ballroom in a big way. Mm-hmm. Have you heard the rumors going out about this ballroom that it's very, it seems very.
Did you see the post that Trisha Hope shared?
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I did. I saw that as well. And what they're saying is they're building a center hub that's going down, I think 12 stories deep behind the, down underneath the ballroom that could survive a missile strike is what they're saying. And it's just a big AI data center hub where they can control all the information right there at the White House. Won't that be fantastic? I mean, what could possibly be better than some crazy lunatic leftist with complete control over these AI data centers and everything that you say, every move, every step you take, every move you make. Sing it with me, everybody. Every game you play. Something like that. I don't know. If I knew the words, I'd knock it out for you.
That song is about the government.
I mean, it's just crazy. It's not really, is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
It should be if it isn't.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with the way the tech bros are working. The people that want the AI data centers, the people that are they're going to tell you how great they are for you and how much economic development it's going to bring in, and they just keep pushing that narrative. I find it disgraceful. I'll just be honest with you. My friends in the Republican Party, and I love you, and many of you are doing things that are just crazy, in my opinion. You're so hell-bent on being stuck to the Republican narrative in the state of Missouri. You're so hell-bent on the 50 jobs that are going to come out of it and all the economic development that's going to come out of it that you're not even recognizing the potential harms of these things, not just to the environment, not just to the soil, not just to the water, not just to the noise, but the ultimate surveillance state that is being built. Everybody sees it. Flock cameras everywhere. Surveillance within your cars and your trucks, low-hanging, low-orbit satellites. What do they call them? Drones, which is what Bill Gates is talking about. I mean, do we have a Fourth Amendment? 702 FISA warrants, right? Donald Trump was against them. Good news. Now he's for them. I mean, the whole thing's crazy. Go ahead, Isaiah.
I do have some good news. I spoke with a lieutenant from the Missouri Highway Patrol because there's a social media post that has caught storm on Facebook, specifically in Missouri, about drones tracking people's speed in the city of St. Louis. And I guess that was actually a post from April Fool's Day, and people believed it. And I mean, people still believe it to this day.
Please do it.
Yeah, the lieutenant said that they still get calls and they have to let everyone know. He goes, but please let your listeners know we're not going to pull anyone over with the drone. We're not tracking anyone's speed with the drone. And I said, hey, they're going to be happy to hear that you're not tracking them, because I think there'd be an uproar if that was really the case, because it seems like there already is one, and it's not even real.
They're going to take the Chinese model. When I was in China, I had somebody driving with us. You kind of, it feels like you got a lot of handlers when you go to China. But as we were driving, I noticed that everybody's driving at the same speed. And I said to him, I said, are there radar like in the United States? I'm talking to the guy that's there. I said, they'll point a radar at you, and if you're going too fast, they'll pull you over and give you a ticket. He goes, no, and he kind of points up into the sky. And I said, what is it? And he goes, you see those lines? So they like telephone lines that cross the street every so far.
Mm-hmm.
He said those monitor your speed, and if you go over the speed limit, they just send you a bill in the mail.
Oh my god!
Well, I think that's where America is heading. I think we're moving in the same direction. All right, let's do this. This is called Cognitive Wild West, and I want people to at least contemplate the idea that the new power structure is going to be within the technology industry. That's why the AI data centers. That's why the Sam Altman. That's why the Larry Ellison. That's why the Elon Musk. That's why the Bill Gates. They are trying to build power through technology, and that power is not aimed to help you. That power is aimed to surveil you. That is exactly what is happening now. Will there be good things that come out of AI? Absolutely. I think that they're going to be able to do things on the medical front that we wouldn't have been able to do in the past. I'm sure there's a lot of problems that we're going to be able to solve through AI. But the one thing that we're not paying attention to is the absolute control and power that the state is going to have when they can monitor every single thing that you do, and not just monitor it in real time, Isaiah, because you can't monitor 330 million people all at one time with a handful of people. But if they decide they want to come after Robb Carter because they don't like Robb Carter speaking about the AI data centers and messing up everything for us in the state of Missouri, well, they can just press a button and find out everything that I've said in my home. Mm-hmm. AI will bullet point it for them. They can tell everybody who my friends are by where my car has been. They can track by what phone I'm next to. If I'm near Isaiah, they can track his phone and my phone, and they can compile information on me that can destroy me. Remember, show me the man and I'll show you the crime. Everybody remember that statement? Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. That's where we're heading. And the insanity that people aren't paying attention to it is something I don't understand. Isaiah, it's so clear and evident. Like I said, 702 FISA warrants that Donald Trump railed against. He said they were using them to spy on his campaign in 2016. Now he's all for them. You have the Republicans, 200 something in the House voted there was a bill that was going, that was being pushed to stop the kill switches in the new vehicles coming out in 2026. Now the government can just turn your car off if they want to. Anybody goes, well, I'm saying, no, they have the ability to do it. So wherever it starts, they get their pinky toe in the door. And then ultimately that's going to be the plan. And as generations move forward, they'll just accept it. They will know no better. It'll be the way they're taught in schools. It's what the government websites and the corporate media is going to explain to them, that they're going to be able to turn their cars off and do whatever they want to them, surveil them at every turn. Listen to how coordinated it is, though. Remember when we play all of the Mockingbird media stuff, and it's everybody in the corporate press singing the same song every day, and it's just they're reading from the script, and it's all across the country. Listen to how the tech bros are starting to do it. All right, they're using the same strategy: repetition, make everything sound normal. It's not normal, but they try to make it sound normal. It is clip number 2. It's called the Cognitive Wild West. Now listen to how many of the tech bros are using the term, we are in the Cognitive Wild West. Go.
Bet you didn't see this. Just watch what happens in the comments.
We really are living in a cognitive Wild West.
We really are living in a cognitive Wild West.
Living in a cognitive Wild West.
A cognitive Wild West.
Most people have near zero mimetic defenses or cognitive security suited for the age of synthetic media.
Near zero mimetic defenses
or cognitive security.
Wow.
See it?
Yep.
It's the same.
It's just like the news, you see those the
exactly.
news clips, right? When they start populating, they're all saying the same thing. That's exactly
right.
What
And these are supposedly people from all different spectrums in the tech world, right?
Yeah.
But they're all using the same language because it's all coordinated. It's a trap. They are attached to the government, just like your politicians are attached to the government, just like the military is attached to the government. So are these tech companies. They are one and the same with the government. They just put a private name on top of it. So you go, well, Facebook is just a private company, Rob. They're selling your information because you get the free service. So that's why they're selling the information. And I said, okay, yeah, that's right. That's probably why Mark Zuckerberg created the Zuckerbucks and affected the elections in 2020. And then Donald Trump had him sitting right next to him in the White House, praising him in 2025. Anyway, just little things that you might want to notice on occasion. Let's get to the Ford trucks because that's where I wanted to start. This is a long piece, but I wanted to get to it. This is what is beginning to happen. This guy tells you, he reads all of the information in the manuals about the Ford truck surveillance system that is in all new vehicles moving forward. And I think it's in not just the Ford vehicles. I think it's in all vehicles. But this blew my mind. It is all the rage on social media. Everybody is talking about it. I don't know if Fox and Friends is going to cover it. I don't know if CNN is going to cover it. I don't know. Probably not. But you'll hear about it here if you have not heard it already. Check it out. This is a guy talking about Ford trucks and what kind of surveillance systems they have, where they're going to share the information right from their manual. Go.
No. Now imagine there was an emergency outside the truck, an accident, something terrible on the ranch with a chainsaw. And I jump in this truck, but the truck, it won't shift into drive. Why? Because the cameras and sensors inside this cab won't let it shift, because it detects my eyes are big, there's a lot of emotion, there's some panic, and it doesn't feel that I'm fit to drive. Now that's not science fiction, that is happening because Ford just filed the patents. Ford actually has a series of patents down at the U.S. Patent and Trade Office that deal with the sensors and cameras inside the cab of their truck. And if the sensors in that truck determine that you're not fit to drive, that truck will not actually shift from park to drive. Now they already have a system called telematics, and that's where they can actually pull up cameras in real time inside the cab of their fleet vehicles. Now, they actually market this to insurance companies because the truth is, this is really about who owns the data and who owns the liability. Now, your name might actually be on the title of this truck, and you may have paid for it, but you don't own it. Now, Ford didn't file just one patent. They filed a stack of them, all within months of each other. Are you sitting down? Get this. This Ford technology patent doesn't just watch you. This one puts you in jail. Ford filed a patent, serial number 0104469, where the system takes your biometric data, your face, your iris, and your fingerprint, and it runs it through a criminal database in real time. While you're sitting in your own truck, think about what that means. You wake up one morning, you walk out to your driveway, you climb into a vehicle with your name on the title, on property with your name on the deed. And before you go anywhere, before you've done a single thing wrong, your truck is already running your face through a law enforcement database. Ford's own patent language describes this as potentially useful for police. They wrote that. Ford wrote that into the patent application. So the question isn't whether this technology can be abused. Ford already told you who it's for. You just didn't know that you were buying a cop car. Now I'm going to walk you through a few of these patents. Lip reading, cameras inside your cab, machine learning trained on lip movement datasets, cloud connected, your face processed somewhere you'll never see, stored as long as they want. Acoustic lip reading, if the cameras aren't enough, the system emits inaudible sound waves and reads the echoes bouncing off of your mouth. You can't see it, it's just happening. Biometrics, your face, fingerprint, iris, filed February 2024, and it was published August 2025. This one is assigned a serial number because it's real. Ad listening. This is scary. It monitors conversations between everyone in the cab. It serves targeted ads based on what you and others are talking about while you're driving. In Ford's words, maximum opportunity for ad-based monetization. No description of how that data is protected either. None. How about Ford Pro Telematics? Now, this one isn't a patent. This one is actually a product page. Right now, fleet managers can pull live in-cabin video feeds of drivers on their phones. Ford markets seatbelt compliance alerts with the explicit benefit of lowering insurance costs. They said it themselves. This is the infrastructure, and once the infrastructure exists, it's going to get used and abused. Now, Ford isn't alone in this. This is an arms race. Smart Eye driver monitoring software is already in over 2 million cars globally. The EU's general safety regulation mandates drowsiness systems as standard equipment going forward. GM deployed biometric seat sensors and heart rate monitoring in production trucks.
For safety. For safety.
What do you think, Isaiah?
Oh, yeah. That's, I mean, I was against this back when Thomas Massey was raising awareness about it. I think I put a post out the other day on X that I was joking and I said, oh, if someone just warned us about this, and I posted a little picture of Thomas Massey. And
the third-rate congressman.
yeah, exactly.
The MAGA hates.
Third-rate, terrible.
Right. The guy that votes number one. He's the number one, according to the John Birch Society. He's the congressman who votes most consistently with the authority the Constitution gives him, and MAGA hates his guts now.
Crazy.
They hate his guts. They hate his gut. He votes with the Constitution every single time. That's his benchmark, kind of like Bryant Wolfen here in the state of Missouri. And yet MAGA hates his guts. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Everything that the people, maybe there's two camps. I was going to ask this for my MAGA friends. Maybe there's two camps with MAGA, right? Maybe in 2016, that was a different group. That group wanted accountability in the government. They wanted the Republican Party to monitor its own movements instead of constantly complaining about the Democrats. It wanted no more war. It wanted a wall built, right? It wanted to get rid of the debt, right? It wanted to make great deals around the world, and these kind of things. It seems like everything that we were for, get rid of the 702 FISA warrants. That's what he said, right? Is that me or you on the screen?
Where?
I don't know. Something just came onto my screen out of the blue.
Oh.
Probably being monitored as we speak.
Yeah.
But all of those things are completely different than now. And I wonder if it's the Republican Party from that was established in 2016. Now all those establishment Republicans are now moving toward Donald Trump because they hated him then or didn't like him then. Now they're back in the fold with him because he's doing what the Bushes and the Romneys and the McCains, that's what they were all about. Maybe they're just back on Donald Trump. Maybe it's the establishment Republicans that now like what he's doing, and the old MAGA people that wanted all those things done have just said, we're out. Is that possible? Because I'm the original one. I'm one of the originals. I was the one that was saying he was going to be president when he came down the escalator and fought with everybody on Facebook, signed up for his campaign, donated money. I lost half of my family, lost my job, and lost everything defending Donald Trump. And now I'm a Democrat shill who's trying to destroy Donald Trump because I don't know. I didn't even know what they're talking about. But it does feel like there's two separate camps.
Yeah.
Right?
James Fish back there in Florida.
Yeah.
So Nick Fuentes, he went on a break from streaming for a little while. So his fans were, distraught that he wasn't streaming for a while, but he just did his first stream last night back. And he was talking last night about how James Fishback reminds him of 2016 Trump. He said, I've never seen crowds like this. I don't see this kind of energy, this support, the rhetoric that's coming from the candidate. He said he hasn't seen it since, back in 2015 when Trump was running for the 2016 election. I was like, that's very interesting. It's true. It's a lot of people coming out to the events. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a grassroots groundswell. Same thing's happened with Paul Renner. Paul Renner I don't know whether there's much difference between Fishback and Renner.
I don't think any.
DeSantis down in Florida just gave it an endorsement for Collins, who's the lieutenant governor.
Really?
Yeah. So there's going to be some. It's going to be quite the race down in Florida. This is a state where they play for keeps down here. They want whoever gets the control of the governorship in Florida is a big deal. And by the way, as I understand it, mandatory machine counting of votes in the state of Florida, which leads me to believe that Byron Donalds, if I understand how the system works, Byron Donalds is in the catbird seat in the state of Florida. If I understand how things work based on electronic voting systems, he is. He's an establishment hack. That's what he is. And I would assume a state like Florida they don't want to willy-nilly give it to somebody who's actually going to look out for the people. I can't imagine that would be the case. Now, I think Florida is a pretty good state as far as freedom is concerned. I remember when the whole COVID thing was going on, and it's more the people's attitudes. Did you see Tucker when he went over to Russia and he interviewed Vladimir Putin, and then he went to McDonald's and he kind of drove around? He did a piece after that. And he said, being in Russia, he goes, they had the same protocols. They had the same mandates. You had to wear a mask and this, that, and the other. He said, but they don't wear them. Nobody cares. Nobody paid attention to it at all. Right. And I just wonder if that is the methodology that the people of this country will ultimately use, is they just don't pay attention to any of that stuff. They just don't pay attention. They're like, whatever. You know what I mean? It's kind of
my wife was saying that even about weather. She said that the other day. I get a email from our city administrator. He's letting us know everything that we're doing as a city to help out the citizens. And so I tell my wife, because we have some appointments with patients in the afternoons here at our office down the street. And so I said, hey, the city is closing at 3 and it looks like school let out at 1. So maybe you might want to call your patients and see if they wanted to reschedule. And she said that some of the patients had no idea that there was even a storm coming. And
really?
I was like, yeah.
Why?
Just because they don't pay attention, like you're saying. You know, they're not paying attention to that stuff. And so I think, you know, the whole name of the game, starting with Henry Ford and the 40-hour work week, was to keep us busy enough with everything else so that we can't pay attention to what really matters. That's my.
I do think that's a big problem, Isaiah. You know, I used to talk about it on the radio show all the time. I said, you know what? You can't really get mad at people who are trying to feed their families and stay above water, right?
Yeah.
If you're living check to check and you got to work 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week and you got a couple of kids at home, you know, if you're going to spend time with your wife and your family and you're going to work full time, there's not a lot of time to invest in political meetings and political functions, that kind of thing. I get it. I do. That's why when I say that I would like you to sign up for peopleslobbymo.com, you don't have to donate money. If you have the money to donate, great. But we want to be your voice. You don't have to do anything other than read an email every now and again from us as to what is happening. Show you how to get involved so that we can actually have a conversation and ultimately change the direction of the state of Missouri. That's the plan. I'd like to have a home in Missouri, to be honest with you. My whole family's there. I love Missouri. I absolutely love the state of Missouri. I love Florida too now. I got to be honest. I like Florida. But I love Missouri. It's where, it's where I went to school. It's where I raised my family. It's where I worked my entire adult life. I know people everywhere there. I feel very at home because Missouri is a very interesting state. You can go anywhere and, hey, Rob, how are you? And it's not people from the radio or people from the podcast. It's from people that I happen to know and love, and they're everywhere.
Went to high school with and everything.
That I went to high school with and just have relationships with. And I would like to see Missouri. The politics is so. I don't want to use the word corrupted all the time. It is so party driven. It's very interesting. There's a guy named Mike Koslow. He's a rep out in O'Fallon, Missouri. And he comes on the show every now and again when he's on the radio. And we had a back and forth on social media the other day. And he said, Rob, it's not, just a centralized party like you think. There's individuals. I said, then why even put an R in front of your name? That's my point. If it's not party politics, then why does it seem like there's a handful of people that whatever the leadership says, they fall directly in line with it? Because no common sense thinking person would say, yeah, build these AI data centers, kind of like getting the needle stuck in your arm. Remember when all the Republicans like Mitch McConnell and everybody was saying, go get that needle in your arm right away? Why would
I take all my advice from Mitch McConnell, definitely.
Exactly. Why would citizens, though, just, I think if it's a government of, by, and for the people and you're looking out for the people, why would citizens want you to build AI data centers in their backyard in their pristine land? Why would they want to take the risk of water contamination, air contamination? Why would they want to take that risk when you never really had a conversation with them about it? You made the decision before these people even knew it was going down. You signed NDAs, and then you have people, very high-ranking people in the Republican Party, coming out and saying, got to get those AI data centers. It's these crazy Democrats that are trying to stop the AI data centers. I'm thinking, no, it's the people, Democrats and Republicans. They want more. They want an understanding of what the benefit is to them. They want to understand what it's going to do to their environment. Pump the brakes. That's what we're saying. Pump the brakes. Little moratorium. But for some reason, they don't want to pump the brakes, and they do not want to have real conversations with their people. And I just think it's despicable. What am I wrong, Isaiah? Don't you see it that way? Isn't that what's going on in Franklin County?
Yeah. That's one of the reasons I feel like I won my alderman race, is because I wanted to be an actual representative for the people, not
listen to them,
tell them what. Oh no, we know better than you. Because when I went and talked to the current aldermen, and nothing against them, working with them, they're all great people, and we're going to be able to get a lot done together. But they just told me that, the big problem, Isaiah, is that the people just don't know how it works or how things are going on. And my response to that is, well, then you need to tell them, you need to educate them, you need to have conversations with them, right? Get out there and meet the people. Yeah.
And be balanced, because what they want to do, Isaiah, I've watched this too many times to count. What they want to do is they want to get to their functions and they want to preach to you what's going to happen. Well, preaching to me could be that you're misleading me. You could be telling half-truths. You could be telling me misinformation. You could be telling me information that somebody gave you that may not be true.
Yeah.
So when you come out and you speak to people in public, you should give your 15 or 20 or 30-minute presentation and then take questions for hours.
Yes.
Sean
Noel is going to do that tonight.
Right. But that's what good public servants do. Good public servants want to be an asset to the community that they serve. And to be an asset to the community that you serve, you listen to them. You hear you hear what they have to say. You don't get knee-jerk reactions of anger when they disagree with your position on something. And you won't get a lot of anger if you're just decent to them. If you say, listen, here's why I'm doing it, and I just disagree with you. I think this is the benefit, and I think the benefits outweigh the problems. You're going to get a lot of respect.
Yeah.
But if you ignore them and pound away at them on social media and call them stupid and they just don't know what's going on, and you say you're a Republican, but you're really a Democrat, all of these feeble and ridiculous arguments, It just creates more and more division within what I would call common sense thinking people. Is that fair?
Yeah. You want to do Noah's Ark next?
I want to do Noah's Ark. No, what time we got? Yeah, let me get this out of the way. I just want to clarify this for everybody one more time with what you should be paying attention to. All right, pay attention not to the shiny objects on Fox News and CNN. Don't pay attention to let's just be honest. The conservative radio situation now in the state of Missouri is really going to be. It's not that they're. How do I say this? It's going to be Republican centric. It just is. It's going to be every excuse the Republicans come up with. They're all going to, everybody within the establishment of the Republican Party, they like to take control of the airwaves. They like to make sure that it's very difficult for independents to run their radio stations unless you're in bed with them. And ultimately, they just gobble them up. The parasite eats the host. And then all of a sudden, you're going to hear Republican talking points everywhere. And you're going to get very little pushback. Okay, that's just what's going to go down. It's the nature of what we're beginning to notice. But let's pay attention to let's talk about what you should be paying attention to. Okay, AI data centers are all the rage. Sam Altman and Larry Ellison. Look them up. Look up their histories. They're the ones that stood by Donald Trump on January 21st, the first day. Okay, he was sworn in on January 20th. The very first thing. Number one on the agenda for Donald John Trump was to bring out Sam Altman and Larry Ellison and speak about a $500 billion investment in AI data centers. That was done on day one. So if you're talking about priorities, you're a business person. Donald Trump's a business person. Whenever you take over a company, day one, and how you address the people that you're serving or the people that are working for you, that means it's priority number one, correct? So priority number one for Donald Trump on January 21st, the first day that he was president, was to trot out Sam Altman and Larry Ellison and tell you all about Stargate and the $500 billion investment into AI data centers. Now, if I'm wrong, let me know, Isaiah. Donald Trump is a Republican, right?
Mm-hmm.
Republican establishment trying to get the AI data centers put forth?
Yep.
Okay, sounds like a Republican agenda item to me.
I didn't know that Sam Altman was a Republican.
Well, he might not be.
But I don't think he is.
Yeah, he might not be.
That's my point.
Yeah, but none of them may be Republicans in the big scheme of things. Okay. Then you have Ellison and his family taking over half the media and TikTok. Okay, this is who these people are. They're into total surveillance. Mm-hmm. Larry Ellison did an interview where and I played it too many times on my show to play it again, but he said, it's going to be great because you're going to be surveilled everywhere you go. So it's going to change your behavior. There's going to be no criminality because there's going to be something watching you from the sky. We're going to have cameras everywhere. And if you do something, we're going to see it. It's going to control your behavior. And he sold it as a good thing. He's selling the Chinese model as a good thing. And that same person stood right by Donald Trump, along with Sam Altman, on January 21st and said, here we go with the AI data centers under the label Stargate. AI data centers, number one. Then you have the 702 FISA warrants. Donald Trump railed against them. These are warrantless searches that are supposed to be for foreigners and people not from the United States, but that's not how it's being used. Donald Trump railed against it, screamed about it for the better part of 8 years, and then most recently came out and said he is for the 702 FISA warrants because the security is more important than your liberty. That's what he said. Right there on Fox News. Okay? So now you got 702 FISA warrants, which means they can have warrantless searches on American citizens. You got Stargate that's going to surveil them at every turn. And now your vehicles. If you remember Thomas Massey, that third-rate congressman that nobody likes in the MAGA movement anymore, he's trying to protect your Fourth Amendment rights, saying that these vehicles should not have kill switches. They should not be monitoring you when you're in your car. Flock cameras. We had Ike Skelton on. Flock cameras all over, right? So they can surveil your movement along any road in the United States. They're going to be able to watch your movement. So they're going to have total surveillance over the citizens of this country, and they are putting in right now. Right now it's happening. And what did Catherine Austin Fitts say in 2024 before Donald Trump was elected? She was doing an interview, and somebody said to Catherine Austin Fitts, boy, these elections, they're going to steal this election again. She goes, no. They're not going to steal the election. They want Donald Trump to be president. And the interviewer kind of was like panicked because at that time, everybody was talking about the 2020 election was stolen. We were going to get to the bottom of it. We were going to find out how they stole the election, remember? And then everybody thought they hadn't solved that yet. So in 2024, the election would again be stolen from Donald Trump. This was the theory going on at the time. Catherine Austin Fitts said, no. They want Donald Trump to be president. And the interviewer said, what do you mean they want Donald Trump to be president? And she responded by saying they would not be able to put forth the surveillance system, their tech surveillance grid, without the Republicans and the MAGA movement being behind it. And when Donald Trump wins, they will put it forth and all of the MAGA people will cheer and yay, 24-hour surveillance everywhere we go, in my home, in my car, wherever I go to the beach, anywhere, anything I do, the government's going to be able to surveil me. It's going to be so fantastic because Donald Trump is playing 8D chess and it's going to be just wonderful. That's not what I said.
Let's do the dance.
That's what, yeah, there it is. Total surveillance. Yes. Woo-hoo! Total surveillance everywhere you can see.
Yeah.
It's just so insane to me. And nobody's noticing it because they think Donald Trump is, he's coming to save the day from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. That's just the reality.
Everyone needs to download the DFlock app. DFlock, DEFLOCK. You can also look on your computer. If you're on your computer, DFlock. You can look at all of the flock cameras in the United States, and you can find out where all the flock cameras in your area are. You'd probably be surprised how many are near you right now.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. I was surprised how many are in Franklin County. St. Clair is the only, not the only, but one of the only major cities in Franklin County that does not have flock cameras.
Ike Skelton, who's running, he's the one that took the flock cameras down, and then the state of Missouri prosecuted him.
Yeah, he's running for state senator. I can't remember which district, but I think down in Osage Beach somewhere.
The state of Missouri prosecuted a guy who took down surveillance cameras.
Yeah. And they said he stole them, even though he sent an email to Flock saying, hey, I've got your cameras. You can come collect them. That doesn't sound like someone who has the intent to steal.
just remember, under Republican leadership, the state of Missouri prosecuted somebody for taking down flock cameras that were surveilling you despite the ordinances of that town. Said no dice. So they wouldn't come to pick him up. He took him down and they prosecuted him for it. Ike Skelton should win his race 100% to 0 if people really understood what is going on in this country. So to recap, AI data centers, AI data centers with Larry Ellison and Sam Altman, #1 priority for Donald Trump. Now they're saying that is what they're building underneath the ballrooms. This is coming out from data. This is not coming out from somebody's hypothetical theory. These are government contracts that this lady, several people, it's not just one, several people have put out on social media saying, here's what the contracts say. They are building an AI data center hub underneath the ballroom at the White House so that the government will have total surveillance of you at all time and a hub from which to do it. Okay. Then you have 702 FISA warrants, warrantless searches on American citizens. This is something Donald Trump was against. Now he's for it. You have IHRA, anti-Semitic language. So now if you want to speak out against Israel, you can't do it. Legislation all over the country, right here in the state of Missouri. So they're playing with your First Amendment, they're playing with your Fourth Amendment, and they've already stolen your 10th Amendment, as Thomas Massie said when the CARES Act was passed. If you're going, he wanted everybody, just recap if you didn't get to hear it yesterday, when everybody was completely freaked out about COVID, they were going to take remote votes on the CARES Act. They were going to push forth $2.2 trillion worth of legislation, and the idea was you're going to be able to vote from your home. You didn't even have to come into the Capitol to vote. Thomas Massie threw a fit. Donald Trump called him a third-rate congressman. Thomas Massie stood up and said, if you're going to steal our republic, you should show up in the Capitol to vote. You should be, if you're going to steal the republic, and remember what a republic is, that means all these states are sovereign underneath the federal government. But if you're going to steal the republic, that means that the federal government is going to bribe their way into the states and then run the show, which is exactly what happened in Missouri and around the country. Is that a good enough recap?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's do Noah's Ark. We've got 14 minutes. We can get through this. Researchers are saying that they have found Noah's Ark. This goes all the way back, I think, to 1959, if I'm not mistaken. But now we have the technology to figure out whether this is real or not. Apparently, in 1959, satellite images or something of this nature shows the outline of this ark. And I guess Noah's Ark, they did the measurements of what is underneath or stuck into the side of a mountain, I guess is the way they put it. And it's the exact same measurements of the Noah's Ark the way it's described in the Bible. Correct, Isaiah? That's why a lot of people believe
it is the exact length and width, they're saying.
Let's give people just because you're my Bible guy, so you're going to tell me what you know. This is going to be good because this is something you study. Let's start with number 1. This guy's name is Andrew Jones. Did they find Noah's Ark? This guy leads me to think that something big is about to go down with technology and getting this ark from underneath the ground. Clip number 1.
What they believe is evidence of the Ark buried in a remote part of Turkey.
Andrew Jones from California says the dimensions match.
In chapter 6 of Genesis, it talks about a 300 cubit long boat. And that, if you use the Egyptian cubit, is 515 feet long, or about 157 meters. And that's exactly the length of this boat-shaped object.
These are the timbers of the ship. That's what we're looking at.
It's amazing.
Joining us now is the lead archaeological researcher of Noah's Ark Scans, joining us live from Turkey. Andrew, great to have you on. First things first, how long have you and your group been looking for Noah's Ark?
Well, personally, I've been interested in the story as a child. I first heard about it from Ron Wyatt, who came out to California when I was in middle school. I then came out to see this site that was discovered in 1959 by Captain Durupandar, and we started our research in 2019 on the site.
Where did your interest in Noah's Ark stem from?
Well, actually, as a child, a guy named Ron Wyatt came out to California and did a presentation. And I was in middle school back in the early 90s, and I heard about it. I decided I had to go there when I got a chance. And so in college in 1997, that was my first trip to see this boat formation in Turkey. And I've been going back and forth ever since.
Now, talk a little.
Here it is, a huge boat-shaped object sitting below the ground in the mountains of Ararat in Turkey.
It's a man-made object, and it's a ship form. So we're not going to find a sign that says, made by Noah and Sons. But what other ship would it be that, on the side of a hill at 6,500 foot elevation in the mountains of Ararat?
All right, Isaiah, what is your take on this? I don't know what to make of it. I really don't. Be kind of crazy. If that was, if there was an actual discovery where they could prove it.
Yeah. I mean, everything is up for, it could be true, basically, is what I'm thinking. There's nothing that says that it couldn't be true. There's only more research that needs to be done to just continue to uncover like they're doing. The ground penetrating radar, I think that's very interesting because it shows built out columns potentially that are within the structure. And so that would make sense with having, thousands and thousands of animals in there. They needed, I'm sure, some separation between these animals and some structure within the build. And then I also saw another video on Andrew Jones's website with some high-ranking Coast Guard member, and he was talking about how the boat is built. He said it's amazing because the front is pointed and the back is flat, and he explained why that's important, especially if there's large waves that they would be going in.
How big is it?
Oh, I think it's 300 cubits by 50 cubits. I have no idea how many feet that is, but I believe that's correct off the top of my head.
I want to get a sense in yards and feet how big Noah's Ark is described in the Bible.
Google it. The thing that's convincing to me is the drudge stones. Did you see those?
No.
So those are just massive, massive stones that are found around this area that have holes drilled in them, and these stones are used to weigh the ship down in the sea so that it doesn't flip over. And so there's a bunch of these stones that are found around this area as well. And so that's what's pretty convincing to me.
And it's in the area where the Bible says it was.
It's in Mount Ararat area, right? There's a lot of mountains that are Mount Ararat, in that area, but it's in that area. It's the right size. There's these drudge stones around it. And now the ground penetrating radar that we have is showing some other interesting information, right? 510 feet long, 85 feet wide.
510 feet long.
Yeah, so
Busch Stadium, if you can imagine, Busch Stadium is about 400 feet from home plate to center field. So this boat or this ark would go from center field or from the plate all the way if you've ever been to a Cardinal game, right, or any baseball game for that matter, 400 feet to dead center field, and then another 100 feet past that, which is the 90 feet from home to first. So that's the additional length. That's a lot of space. That's a
lot of space.
A relatively large operation they got going on there.
Yeah, actually, I think it's like in Cincinnati area. I think is Cincinnati on the border there of Kentucky.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that area, there's a museum called the Creation Museum.
Is that the one where they have the replica ark?
Yeah.
I've not seen that. Have you seen that?
I have not seen the ark. I've been to the Creation Museum a long, long time ago. because I was homeschooled, and so my mom would always make us watch Ken Ham's videos on creationism. And so he's a very, very smart guy. And the interesting thing that I saw while they're there, they had some type of like incubator chamber where they were trying to mimic what the earth was like before the flood, because they believe in the canopy theory. Before Noah's flood, they believe that it didn't rain ever. And that's because in the Bible, it says that the waters came up from the deeps to water the plants in the Garden of Eden. And so they have this theory that there was this layer of water around the entire earth that was kind of like
the earth is flat, Isaiah. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, exactly. Flat Earth, Dave. I'm sorry, but this is just their theory. Hey, I'm just telling you what they believe, right? But there was a thin layer of water all around the earth, and that protected from the sun, and that's why plants grew bigger. They say like people lived longer, different things like that. Like a scientific explanation is what they're trying to come up with, kind of.
I didn't know that.
The plants were enormous inside of this incubator. Enormous. And I was like, oh my gosh, they might be onto something here. So
really,
I thought they were enormous. I mean, huge plants that were in there that aren't usually that big. And so,
wow,
pretty interesting to me.
All right.
Yeah.
You want to play that clip? And I don't know what you're trying to get him. You sent me a clip yesterday. You said you should study this, and I did, but I don't know. I don't really.
Yeah. So this is just the history. I don't know, because when you read the Bible, for me personally, and I don't know, maybe people are smarter than me. So, but when I read the Bible, even though it's written chronologically, I'm not necessarily reading it chronologically. I might go to the New Testament and read something about Jesus, and then I might hop over to the Old Testament and read something about Moses or Noah, like we're talking about. And so I don't think that a lot of people realize with these genealogies, because it's so boring to read, oh, this person begat this person, begat this person, begat that person, right? To realize the timeline of who was alive when Noah was alive. And so that's why I sent you this video, and we can play it.
Walk me through this a little bit, because I didn't know what you were trying to get across to me. So let's check this out.
Yeah.
Noah preserved animals on the ark, but what sort of history and information did he also preserve? He would have had to carry humanity's origin story. I always think about how accurate would his information actually have been. Adam lived for 800 years and he died 126 years before Noah was born. Noah's father knew Adam for 56 years. Noah's grandfather and his great-grandfather also knew Adam for hundreds of years before Adam died. Noah's information of history of mankind and all of the things that God would have passed down to Adam would have been so accurate. It wasn't a game of Chinese whispers. It was really handed down from generation to generation. Love to think of the knowledge that Noah must have had to restart all of humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
What am I learning?
Yeah, so I don't think they said it in this clip. I was kind of bouncing around the screen while I was listening there too. But I think they also have a video. They talk about Methuselah being alive. And Methuselah, do you know who Methuselah is?
No.
He's the oldest man in the Bible. He lived to be 969 years old. And so he died the same year Noah's flood happened. And he was alive while Adam was alive. And so the thing that she's kind of communicating here is timelines, and it helps with the reliability of scripture and the Bible, because that means that it was only 126 years from when Adam died to when Noah was born. And so you have the guy who was created at the beginning of the world, only 126 years, which 126 years back then was nothing, they were living to 900 years old. That's, Noah wasn't having kids, I think, until he was like 400 years old or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Wanted to wait a little bit.
Yeah,
I get it.
He wanted to wait,
I get it.
Sure
I get it. I understand.
He had to make enough money for college.
It's a big decision. It's a big decision.
Yeah. And so that's just what I wanted to communicate, because I know you say you're always learning about the Bible and things like that. But
that's something that's very interesting to me. So Methuselah?
Yeah, Methuselah.
So Methuselah was alive when the flood started, and he was also alive when Adam and Eve
were alive.
Were on the earth.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. We don't kind of put those things together naturally, just because of how, I don't know if it's because we're looking at this as like an old book, and, we're kind of disconnected from it a little bit physically, you know what I mean? But that's something that has been really compelling to me. I wrote a paper on it when I was in high school called, my thesis was something like, if the historical and archaeological evidence of the scriptures are true, we should at least take a moment to examine the spiritual aspects. And all these timelines are one of the things I talked about that people don't really lay out before them, is that, yeah, there's a lot of, you can rely on these things. These people knew each other. They were alive when each other were alive. There was overlap and things happened, and that's even, you can say that same thing about the New Testament, right? Is that when Mark was written, the earliest manuscripts that we have are just very, very, very early on. I think there's even one from the 60s, 80s. And so,
Really?
yeah. And so when we talk about reliability of scripture, that's the biggest thing that I get pushback when I was witnessing on the streets. And I've told you before, I've handed out over 100,000 gospel tracts in my life. And people tell me, oh, you believe in Jesus. He wasn't even a real person on the earth. And that I'm just like, you're stupid. I can't even, I can't, you're so stupid.
Ignorant.
Like,
Ignorant
yeah,
is the right word. Ignorant.
Yeah, ignorant. Yeah, but that's how I feel. I'm just telling my flesh, right? But it is an ignorant statement to say that, because even people that
there's historical record.
Yeah, exactly. Josephus is a Jewish historian. Did not believe Jesus was Messiah, but he thought it was important enough to write about Jesus in his historical accounts. And so, and then the manuscripts that we have in the New Testament, there's over 5,000 manuscripts, which is the most manuscripts out of any book that old, more than, Homer's Odyssey, more than anything like that. And so
we only know what we're privy to. That's the reality of it. The human mind can only, most anyway, not everybody. I think some people have extra abilities to think out into the future and think through the past, but most people they only know the environment they're in. So things of this nature seem crazy to them because they can't quite understand it. And then my argument is always, if there's not a creator, then how did everything work so perfectly to get us here? How can you explain plant life? How can you explain all of the animals? How can you explain the moon and the stars? And how can you explain the perfection of the human body to survive, right? How do you explain human consciousness? How do you explain those things unless there's a creator, right? And if you just start from that premise, if somebody says there's the Big Bang Theory or evolution or all these different things, I'm like, well, explain to me how that works. How did the Big Bang? What started that? How did these things?
I do believe in the Big Bang.
Yeah, but how did the whole operation start?
Yeah, the Big Bang came when he said, "Let there be light." Right?
God said, "Let there be light," and there was. All right, let me get Carrington Financial in here real fast, and we'll bring in Michael.
Do it. That's what I was thinking.
Carrington Financial, my man Rick Babbitt's. Got to get Rick on the show. He's going to be on the show soon. He's on vacation right now, but Rick Babbitt's. You can reach out to him at 314-671-0525. The best advice I could give to anybody is, if you have your money tied up, and especially if you're nearing retirement, if it's one of your buddies or somebody that you've had for a long time, maybe it feels very informal and you feel like maybe they're not taking care of your money properly, Rick Babbitt's will look over your money with a fine-tooth comb. He's just terrific at what he does. He's made a lot of money for us in just a few months. My wife, like I said, is over the moon with what he's done for our financial situation. Rick Babbitt's, yourcaringadvisor.com. You can reach him at 314-671-0525. Biblical principles with your money. And as he likes to say, let me read the script he gave for me. He said, Rob, the reality is that investors are dying to have a new experience. The dominance of big brokerage firms and wirehouses has given even above average investors the impression that there is no alternative, that their choices are limited, and that switching to another advisor or firm wouldn't make much difference in the outcome. Carrington Financial offers investors the alternative approach they have been seeking. My man, Rick Babbitt's there on the screen. Again, you can reach out to him at 314-671-0525, or you can check him out. You might, if you're driving, you might be able to remember this easier. yourcaringadvisor.com. yourcaringadvisor.com. My man, Rick Babbitt's. We'll have him on the show relatively soon. All right, let's bring in Michael Castellero. Crazy story originating out of the Southern District of New York, and we've been following the MMTLP story. There'll be a lot of MMTL people watching and listening today or tonight or whenever they get the show. But I wanted you to come in, Michael. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
Good to see you. I know you got a whole situation going on there. Hard to be happy with what's going on in your situation, but I want people to understand it as best they can, because it's a little bit complicated. If you're not a financial person, these stories can get complicated. But just kind of walk us through what happened to you. You're being, as I understand it, you're being prosecuted out of the Southern District of New York for financial crime that you say you did not commit. And then when you wanted to get discovery, then they turned it into a criminal charge because they did not want discovery in your attorney's back pocket. And that's where the whole thing starts to fall apart. I empathize with your situation, brother. Believe me, I've got some crazy stories that I'll be telling over the next few weeks. But just from your perspective, how did this thing begin, and what's the story?
It's, I think, a masterclass on how the federal government can be weaponized to dismantle successful businesses. I've been stripped of my business. I've been debanked. I've had my constitutional rights taken away, and not one single loss to an investor.
No losses.
No losses.
Nobody's complaining. There's no injured party.
Rob, we were making our investors 2 to 3x on their money.
And what was the original charge? Like, so when they come after you and you get to, obviously you're served somewhere, somebody's going to bring you papers, they're serving you. What is the original charge that they're charging you with? What was the problem?
When they shut down our company, they said we were a Ponzi-like scheme. Right? It's either you're a Ponzi scheme or you're not. It's right. not like a, it's either, so they took our company down. They tried to shake us down. They said we had to pay a $75 million fine to make a civil inquiry go away. And when we said, no, what are you talking about? We made our customers money. I don't understand where this is coming from. All of a sudden, that's it. They went to Judge Kaplan and they took our company away.
So I think that's the thing I want to talk to you about, because what you're describing is something I've been hearing a lot lately. It was a shakedown. They can do it if they have a judge in their back pocket. And this is $75 million. This is not like you're giving some writing a check for $100. This is $75 million. You believe the government was just performing a shakedown on you. They bring up civil charges against you. And they say, you know what, Michael, if you just write us a check for $75 million, this will all go away. You resisted the $75 million because you're not going to roll over for something that you didn't do. That got the criminal portion of your situation to develop. And now you're worried about you're going to have to leave your family and go to prison if you don't get a pardon here pretty soon. Is that the situation you're in?
Pretty much. I mean, so they took the $75 million, then they ran to Judge Kaplan. They froze everything, homes, money, everything. Right?
What's that like? What's that like? So you wake up one day, you want to go to the bank, you go to the ATM, or you go to write a check, or you're making your mortgage payment, and all your money is frozen. Is that what happened to you?
Basically.
So you had access to no capital whatsoever at one time, other than what was buried in the backyard or something?
We survived till like July because my wife had some money in her bank account. But then what they do then is they start calling around to the institutions to debank you. Right? So that's on top of it. Right? I remember I've had an American Express card since like 2005.
Uh-huh.
In December, like 3 days before Christmas, I get a phone call. The American Express is closing my account. My lawyer tells me that the SEC just looks for ways to mess with you, and they'll do that whenever they want. They'll just call institutions. So if you start getting debanked, they're just doing it to mess with you, because what they do is not only do they freeze everything, but whatever you might have access to, as little as it is, they tighten that noose around your neck to basically give you no shot to breathe.
And you think this might have happened too, because you and I were talking and you said you're a Donald Trump supporter. You were going down to Mar-a-Lago. You were posting pictures and videos from Mar-a-Lago because you were kind of in that group at the time. And you think that the Biden administration may have come after you primarily because of your association with Donald Trump. Do you believe that was the original idea, or do you think it was just a random, they think they could shake you down and they were going to try and get some money out of you?
On January 20th of 2021, as Joe Biden's getting sworn in, I'm taking a tour of Trump Jupiter. I was basically signing on. And now that, fast forward now, you find out Arctic Frost, all the Trump Organization accounts were there. And the government has all my bank accounts. They have all my credit card statements. They have everything. So they know I was paying monthly dues to that. Plus, in my criminal trial, Rob, they showed my lavish lifestyle. So guess what? I know that they're looking at my pictures of Mar-a-Lago. They're looking at, whatever me and my wife did. Because every post, practically every weekend, was if my wife posted something or I posted something, was there.
And that makes you somewhat the devil, right? Because the Biden administration, the way they went after, especially people that were supporting the Biden administration, that's the way they went after MAGA people. They just went after him hardcore. Did you have a relationship with Donald Trump? Because now you're looking for a pardon. I think you went through Peter Tickton, right? Peter Tickton, the famed attorney, and Peter Tickton is going to put forth a pardon request for Donald Trump. I don't even know how that situation would work. But do you know that Donald Trump has it in his hands? Do you know that it's made it through the DOJ? Where is the pardon in the process?
So I believe on January 2nd, Peter Tickton did hand it to President Trump or his detail directly. Ever since then, I don't know. Ann has shaken a couple of trees for us.
Ann Vandersteel?
Ann Vandersteel has been a blessing. She's
brilliant
for us pretty hard.
She's really good. Let me just read a couple of things could you summarize this for me?
Yes.
And I was looking at this going, holy Moses. I mean, I just cannot imagine being in the crosshairs of people with power when they want to take you down. I'm just going to go through it from the beginning. You say timeline of government weaponization. And then you say the first thing is extension as perjury traps. So what you're explaining is they're giving you extensions of your business shutdown. They're giving 2-week extensions. And now you're out talking. Right? Is that what you're saying? And that's where they're trying to catch you in perjury traps, where you might just say one wrong little thing. They can twist it to get you in trouble.
I'll put it. We're communication attorneys, and the SEC. We're in communications. So now we were what's called an exempt reporting advisor. That means we don't have managed money. We don't trade money. We were a private fund. We weren't like you just had the ad for your friend. Your friend's an advisor. He's a Series 65. He gets paid a fee for managing money. We didn't do that. We charged a markup which we disclosed to every customer, and most of our money was generated off the profit that we showed the customers. So we were an incentivized fund for we needed our customers to make money for us to really make a living.
Right.
And we were entitled, just like any other hedge fund, any other standard fund structure, we're entitled to 20% of the profits that we make the customer. So if you invested $100,000 with me and I made you $100,000, by law, I'm entitled to give you 80 back.
Right.
So you'd get 180 and I keep 20.
Which ain't so bad. And nobody was complaining because they were making money.
No, we had over 2,200 customers. Not one customer complained.
What does your attorney tell you? Because I'm always curious about this. Because they did this to Trump too, as I understand it, with the whole the cost of Mar-a-Lago, right?
Same judges, same everything.
So the same judges and the same principals that were involved in your case are the same ones that went after Donald Trump for saying that he did he overestimate the cost of Mar-a-Lago? Is that what they said that he did? I forget the whole story behind Mar-a-Lago and that deal.
That
but
he overinflated? Was it that he overinflated the value of it and she valued it at $18 million or something?
I know it's probably worth $1 billion. I can't even imagine how much Mar-a-Lago is worth, but it's certainly more than what they said. And they tried to act like he overinflated to borrow against it. Is that how that works?
Yeah, just go on Realtor.com, pull up the houses around it. It's like $50 million just for a lot.
Yeah, it is bizarre. And what's a little bit concerning to me is that Peter Tickton, you would think, would have a direct source to Donald Trump, which means that if Donald Trump understands that what happened to him is now happening to you, you should be receiving a pardon. That's number one. Actually, let's just start there. I don't want to get into my list of things. You would believe that if Donald Trump has access to this, he is going to pardon you, right? Because
correct. I think it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. I mean, same judges. I mean, I've been threatened with. I was born in Panama. We came to this country legally when I was 10, and I've even been threatened with denaturalization.
You're kidding me. Unbelievable. Nope. And I want to run through this. I know what I was going to say to you earlier. So we had Trevor Milton. Do you know Trevor Milton and the story that went down with Trevor Milton? You know that story?
Yes.
So he was on the show right after he was on with Tucker Carlson. He came on the show. He explained that situation to me, and he was able to get a pardon from Donald Trump. Do you have access to his attorneys or anybody that might have helped him with that? So maybe they can get in the same hands that helped Trevor Milton. Have you tried that angle?
No, but I love an introduction. It's when these things happen, you're in your own little dark cave of hell, right?
I can't imagine the stress. Can't imagine it.
And then through your dark all you're trying to figure out is, first of all, every day is, how could this be happening? This is a blatant lie, right? And then, like last July, I really got really active on X, and that's what led me to like where I'm at today, where I'm sitting here speaking to you today, and that's what led me to Peter Tickton, and led me to a lot of other good people like Ann and everything else.
Yep.
So at that moment, now I have to fight because I'm not worried about me going to jail. It's they want to take everything, and that means my wife and kids go on the street.
Dude. I just can't imagine. I feel you, brother.
That's the killer.
Yeah. Yeah, you worry about your family, you worry about the way you're going to what kind of sense are they talking about for this non-crime that they tried to shake you down for $75 million? What's the what are they telling you?
Well, they were at first they were talking about 25 to life.
Unbelievable.
And now the PSR report came at 11 years. But full forfeiture, that means the money we've made has to pay back. And then they wanted us to pay a $400 million restitution when they submitted the order the night before the sentencing, which was supposed to happen on April 15th. So now we were able to get partial sentencing removed, postponed to May 20th. And they still now say that we need to pay what we've made and what other institutions we pay, like commissions that we pay brokerage firms, because they would send us some money and then we would send them their commission off of it, and all these other investments, which adds up to $115 million, but they still can't prove. First of all, I want to know who's going to get the $150 million. Because
I was just going to ask you that. Who gets the money?
There's no hurt. There's nobody that's hurt. There's nobody that's hurt. And back to the Ponzi scheme narrative. I think in the past 4 years, the company has generated over $30 million in revenue. So you tell me what Ponzi schemes still generate in revenue?
Right. Well, I think the ace in the hole for you, especially for public opinion, right? If you can put, because, you know, my take on it, Michael, and we talked about this just a little bit. I think the government is incredibly corrupt right now. I don't know if it's always been this way, but the closer I get to it, the more it's like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe some of the things that are happening. And I say that, you know, the way this would have to work, in my opinion, is a lot of public pressure, which is why I think you're speaking out, right? I think normal people would say, Mike, just be quiet because you don't want to make these people mad. You're looking at it like they're going to put me in prison and I'm going to lose my wife and my family and everything that I work for. I came to this country when I was 10 years old, try to achieve the American dream. I achieved it. I've got this great life going on. And now, because you're supporting the president of the United States, Donald Trump, here comes these group of thugs, in my opinion, these group of thugs that want to come in and destroy your life. And they're doing it to a lot of people. You're not the only one. Believe me, the calls I get are just, I find myself in amazement of things that are going on in this country. And it feels like there's nobody to help unless you just pressure the government so much that you bring up so much awareness that people in the political structure, whether it be in Florida, do you have any congressmen or senators or anybody in Florida that are helping you, by the way?
That joint statement I sent to Brian Mast, I think he sent it to the DOJ. I think we're still waiting on a response. You know, but if it's a DOJ holding him back, what can we do, right?
Yeah. I was just going to ask if there's any powerful people. We have some, you know, Missouri is very heavily involved in the Donald Trump presidency. We have a guy named Will Scharf who ran for attorney general. When you see these guys read, Will Scharf will read, like when Donald Trump's signing an executive order, you'll see in the White House, that's Will Scharf. Well, he worked at the radio station that I was at. We love Will. I think Will's a great guy. So he has a very close connection to Donald Trump. You've got Andrew Bailey, who was the Attorney General of the United States, who's now Deputy Director of the FBI. We have people that can get in contact with him. So I would imagine that just through our resources, we can get the information through those people into Donald Trump. From there, you just got to hope that Donald Trump agrees and signs off on this, right? I would think Peter Tickton would be a confidant of Donald Trump and would be able to handle this for you, because if Peter Tickton is involved, you got to think that Donald Trump understands what's happening here, don't you? I mean, have you any kind of communication back to you at all, like Donald Trump's thinking about it or anything?
But if something got handed to somebody in his team and his team is the issue, then how's he really?
I know.
Right. That's the problem. Right. And I'm just one little speck of sand in a mountain of a billion other things that get thrown in this plate every day.
Yeah, and that's the problem. Is there's so many of these cases that you don't know what to do anymore. I want to read through. Let me get back to this case because a lot of people are going. You know how social media gets, right? I'd say that you're coming on the show. You know, you have a lot of supporters that say that they know your story and they're like, can't wait to see Michael on. You know, we'll watch it. And then you have a lot of people going, oh, this guy's a criminal. And they you know how this works on social media. There's always going to be a detractor. But as I read through this, this, by the way, if I was working as a college professor, I'd say this was very well done for me because I'm not very smart. And you laid this out very nice. It made perfect sense to me. Extension as a perjury trap. You said that happened in January through February of 2022. Then you said false allegations for emergency shutdown. This is the $75 million shakedown. Then you said blocking civil discovery via indictment. That one caught my attention because what you're wanting is for transparency so that you can prove that you're not guilty of the crimes, and they block the discovery. Tell me a little bit about that, because this is what's happening a lot of places is when you want to get the information, they block the discovery, and then you're like, well, what can I do? I mean, if I can't prove my innocence in a court of law, then I'm kind of I'm screwed. And this is happening to you as well. And it's happened to several people that have called me over the last few weeks.
So think about it this way. Our lawyers told us that the DOJ and the Sun District New York and the SEC were having communications. So we're entitled to those communications. Number one, to prepare what they're asking about and all sorts of legal matters. I guess you could ask my lawyers for that. I don't really know, but they pushed and pushed and pushed for the communications. And they said, if you ask for it one more time, we're just going to go ahead and indict. And we're like, why? But we need to know what you guys are talking about us. You know, we need to know, number one, if we need to prove you wrong, which we were always ready to do, the three of us, or anything in regards to that. And they didn't care. November of 2023, the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, they indicted us. So they waited 18 months. They couldn't even make up a charge. They just had to make one up. As my lawyer said at the time, this is a bunch of made up charges and so many man hours that they've wasted that somebody was going to get fired if they didn't indict you. So you're going to take my life, you're going to ruin my life because somebody has to save their job.
Yeah. I want to read this as well. You said regulatory misclassification. Now, this seems to be the sticking point, right? Because I'm just going to read what you wrote to me. You said the government charged us based on standards for a registered investment advisor. Now, I don't know all the ins and outs of this, but you said the government charged us based on standards for a registered investment advisor. But you say that's not where you're coming from. You said their own SEC witness, Steve DeBella, testified that Straight Path Management, your company, was an exempt reporting advisor. What are the differences and what are the regulatory differences so that people can quickly understand what you're talking about?
Exempt reporting advisor, again, we don't manage assets, right? Our assets, basically what we were buying is we were buying shares of companies before they went public, Palantir, Airbnb, and so on, the largest companies out there.
Right.
We used the stock market to get out. To basically, that was, we didn't deal with the day-to-day trading. All we had to do is provide to the government that we had enough shares, proof of contracts, who our referral agents or brokerage firms are, and anything else. All our filings were every I was dotted, every T was crossed, everything was checked by our counsel, multiple attorneys that we've had throughout the 4 years that we had the company. And they just, when they couldn't find anything else, they turned it and charged us as investment advisors, which you're trading daily for customers. You're generating fees. So they changed the narrative just to come at us from a different angle. And every expert in our criminal case that we had, we crushed 15 days of court. I've never seen our 6 lawyers walk out of there with smiles. Never. And when it came out of there, Rob, when it came to charging instructions, the judge tells the jury, Just charge them as investment advisors. That's
just making it up basically because it was easier.
Making it up. It was a case built on all voluntary information because we gave them everything voluntarily because we could. And I sent you evidence of that. An exempt reporting advisor voluntarily has to provide the SEC. Like we could give them nothing, or we could give them 3 things, or we could give them all 50 things. We chose to always be transparent because we're running a clean business, so we gave them everything.
And you think this is you think that if you give them the right information and you can prove your innocence, that everything's going to be fine. You're like a normal American citizen. You're like, well, then they understand that I didn't do anything wrong. This is all going to go away. I just have to prove to them. So I'm going to be as transparent as I can. I'll work within their system to make sure that they understand all of the information because I'm an innocent person. At what point did you begin to recognize that this was not justice that they were seeking? They were seeking your money, your company. They're basically using the government to steal your assets. When did that start to sit in, and what did that make you feel like when you started to recognize that this wasn't about justice anymore?
Mother's Day of 2022. Like when there was no preemptive. Anytime that we had a choice, we were cooperating with them every step of the way. Our lawyers kept telling us the SEC wants you to negotiate a fine. Okay, no problem. They know how much money we made. They want their taste too. Those are exactly the words that I said to my business partners. So our lawyer said it's going to be anywhere from a $2 million to a $5 million fine. So be prepared. So we're keeping the money in the bank to pay them. They're fine because we know the government wants their taste too. We're all aware. But no, then it just from nowhere they pulled this. Basically overnight. And the SEC is wrong every step of the way because in their bylaws, they'd say that they have to, if there's a problem that they believe you have a problem with the way you're running your business, you're supposed to issue corrective action and give them a certain time period to correct it.
Right.
They never once issued corrective action ever.
I got to play this clip real fast because I want Ann Vandersteel's a friend of the show. I don't know if she's how we got in touch with you reached out to me, but if you don't mind, Isaiah, Ann Vandersteel, she talks about Michael Castellero's case. It is clip number 5. Can you pop that up real fast? I want people to, because I think Ann is I think her husband is in the financial business, so she is very savvy when it comes to explaining very complicated things. So if people are starting to wonder, okay, just explain this to me so I can understand. I think Ann does the best job of really walking through how the whole situation developed, and she's begging for you to get a pardon, as is everybody who's listening, because this is just a sad situation. But if you don't mind, Isaiah, play Ann Vandersteel's. She put this out on X just recently, defending Michael Castellero.
Mr. President, this is an urgent message and request for a pardon of innocence for the following 3 Americans: Michael Castellero, Brian Martinson, and Francine Lanaya. They are now all facing prison after a federal security fraud prosecution involving a private equity firm called Straight Path. The government alleged that Straight Path sold shares it didn't own, charged undisclosed markups, commingled investor funds, and misled investors about what the fund actually held. That's the government's theory. But during the trial, testimony from the SEC's own witness revealed something important. Straight Path Management was not, I repeat, not a registered investment advisor. It was an exempt reporting advisor, an ERA. And the SEC witness also confirmed that document requests sent to Straight Path Venture Partners were voluntary requests, meaning the firm was under no legal obligation to comply and there were no sanctions for declining. So the question becomes, how did a regulatory issue involving an exempt reporting advisor suddenly become a criminal fraud case? There's another critical fact. According to the defendants, no investors filed complaints, and investors in the fund actually made money on their investments. If that's true, it raises a fundamental question about how this prosecution unfolded. And there's more. Communications between the SEC and the Department of Justice, the very discussions that now may explain how the case moved from civil enforcement to criminal charges, are currently the subject of a Freedom of Information Act request. But those records are not scheduled to be released until after sentencing. If the government's case is sound, those documents should be released now. And if prosecutors accuse Straight Path of selling shares they didn't own, then the public deserves transparency about share accounting across the market, including unresolved questions about the total share count in the controversial MMTLP case, where investors have also raised concerns about phantom shares. Sunlight should never arrive after people are already in prison. Mr. President, the Constitution gives you the authority to review cases when serious questions remain. So today, we ask you two things. First, consider clemency for Michael Castellero, Brian Martinson, and Francine Lanaya while the full record is examined. And second, call for the immediate release of the communications between the SEC and the Department of Justice so the American people can see exactly how this prosecution came to be. Because justice requires transparency, and the country deserves the full truth.
She's dynamite. That's a really, really good explanation of what went down. I want to move off of just your case for a second, because I think when you're trying to get a message out, people need to connect with you, right? It's just the way it is. They got to feel and understand what's going on with you. You came to Panama from Panama to the United States when you were 10. You speak great English, by the way. You came with 10. Your whole family comes. What was the escape from Panama? Why to the United States?
My parents, I think, were just seeking a better life. I think it was around the time of Noriega.
Uh-huh.
So we moved here we were legal residents when we moved here. And me, my dad, my mom, and my sister,
So just the four of you.
Just the four of us.
What was it like? I always wonder that, moving to a new country when you're 10 years old, what was the sense of things? Were you excited to be here? Were you nervous to be in the United States? Did you have to learn the language?
I always loved the United States because I think, where they always, even when I was up to like 10, I think vacations were always in Miami.
Okay.
So it was easy to make the move to Miami. And then 5 years later, when I was 15, they moved us to New York, which was tough for me at 15. Because you kind of just start making friends and you start evolving. But,
right.
You have to do what you need to do with your family. You have no say. So.
And then you're back to Florida, though, right?
Now I'm back in Florida. And we were blessed. Business was good. So I bought a house in Florida and we were getting out of New York because New York was all screwed up with the whole COVID. So when we moved to Florida, till New York went back to normal, and then all of a sudden my wife's like, "We're not leaving." Okay. I said, "Honey, whatever you say."
Right? I'm in the same boat.
Right. There was no Band-Aid to rip. Everybody says rip the Band-Aid and move somewhere and plan it and this and that. She's like, "We're not leaving." I said, "Okay, that's fine."
We're staying in Florida. Florida is a great place to live. There's no doubt about it. And how long have you been married?
On June, it was 2026. I'll be married. My son's going to be 15, so 13 years.
So you've been married 13 years, or you'll be married 13 years. You have one child or two?
Two. I have a 13-year-old. He's taking this pretty hard.
That's what I was going to ask you is how are the kids taking it? What is the conversation at the dinner table? What is your family going through? So people can kind of feel what you're just the emotions that you have to deal with as a father and a husband. What's the toll taken on your family? How are your kids reacting? What's your wife? What's the situation?
So my daughter Reese is 10. She's, she still doesn't fully grasp it. But my son is 13. He's taking it tough.
Scared?
Doesn't talk about it. That's what bothers me. But, he wanted to come up with me to the sentencing, and the only thing, and he did, and I left him in our house in New York. And the only thing that I was worried about is this piece of garbage judge is going to throw me in jail today, and how am I going to get him home? Because as a father, all you want to do is provide and protect, and hopefully you teach him how to be a man, no matter how rough you are. It could be, but it's all about teaching them how to be a man. And my daughter, you know, how you should be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And
I am, man.
And kids come up to them in school, tell them your dad's a thief, and all these other things that just break me.
Yeah.
And my wife, I mean, we were just talking about this yesterday. My wife had set up a dinner for like one of the ladies, one of the girls in the neighborhood. They had somewhat become friendly. Uses our membership that we had at the time to set up the dinner, and this was 2024. So this is a year after the indictment. And they go out to dinner, they go on a bus, and they go out to eat, and they're on the way back. And the only reason why you can live in our neighborhood is because your husband steals money from people.
You're kidding me. No,
because there's a lot of sheep out there, man. And these people we see them at church, we see them everywhere, and all so it's I feel like God has cleansed us of a lot of people. I think, and it's also showed me who really loves you.
Yeah. It's actually, you know, I know I know it's emotional, brother, because I feel it with you, and so does the audience, believe me. But you do find out who the people are that are in your camp. It's one of the good things about going through a tragedy like this is you do find out who's got your back, who the fair weather friends are, who the fair weather family members are. Yeah. And it's I used to say, you know, I went through a situation like this once before, and I said, you know what? I said, you know, if I have to lose a few friends over this, it'll strengthen the ones that were really my friends to begin with. And I'm sure you're going through that process. How has it affected your wife? Does your wife work? Is she a stay-at-home mother? What's the situation look like if they, God forbid, you end up in prison? What is the situation? Or is your wife going to have enough money to sustain herself? What's your family going to go through if this goes down?
No, I mean, money's a big problem right now for us. You know, everything's frozen. I have a bank account that the statement comes in monthly like a joke. It's an exorbitant amount of money, and it's just sitting there. And now the government just filed that they want to take it.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's frozen, right? So I've tried getting anything to work, and she's tried as well. And just, you know how people are, they Google anybody. And once they see that she's connected to me, she doesn't get it. She doesn't get the job.
And is that the way it is in the community? Like, for example, if you were a member of clubs, if you were going to church, you know, just your associations in the area, what is the vibe now when you're out in public? Do you have this sense that people are looking at you like you're some thief and you've got this stain on you? Or have you been able to communicate with the people around you? Hey, listen, I'm getting railroaded here. And or is it just a mix? You have some people that look at you and they empathize and they want to help you. And then you have the other people that are just like, that guy's a crook and stay away from him. What is just the vibe in the community? Because I think my wife would have a really tough time with that if she thought that people that were friendly with her, you know, it's just one of those things. The person you've chosen to have children with and live the rest of your life with is a criminal. That can't be very comfortable for your wife and the kids to be in. Is that something that you're experiencing?
Well, I think me doing all the media that I've done and everything that I've been out there doing is kind of explain my side of the story. Up until then, you know, I was, I guess, socially in a cocoon in the corner, you know, just not knowing who, what, not knows about me, doesn't know about me. And you know, that was the part that was rough for me, but it's now, since that's also part of why I'm doing this. It's, if the government does put me in jail while I wait for this pardon, right, which we're filing for an appeal too, but who knows, they might still, you know, because if they throw you in jail, they could still come after your stuff even after you're going for an appeal.
Right.
Because they'll find I think now I've realized that the less they have on you, the more they're going to come at you for. And it's terribly sad. I mean, the narrative, right? And some people you can't blame, because if you read something that the government came after somebody else, probably pre-2020, you'd believe it. Oh, this guy,
100%. Yep.
The government
Agreed.
said to do this. They're protecting us. That guy was a bad guy and this and that. No, now you realize. I can tell you, I walked out of the 500 Pearl Street, where the Southern District of New York courthouses is, and I'm like, Jeffrey Dahmer could have walked into this building, and I'm telling you right now, he didn't kill a soul. Like that's how evil that building is.
Yeah. Can you feel it? You get on there and it's cold, and you kind of just feel the evil around you, because Southern District of New York has had a lot of problems from reputation since Donald Trump became president of the United States. So a lot of ills going on in the Southern District of New York. And it does feel like it's almost an orchestrated mafia against people they want to target. Right. And we've heard this multiple different times coming out of there. It doesn't seem like there's going to be any cleanup of the Southern District of New York either. It seems like they're still moving, whether it was the Biden administration or the Trump administration. Feels like they're still heading in the same direction, doesn't it to you?
Well, there are guys running the DOJ now.
Yeah.
And hopefully Peter Tickton becomes Attorney General. I mean, could God bless me? Because I feel like, Mike, there's one to kick open the coffin open, right? I feel like I'm one nail short of the coffin being sealed for me. And Peter Tickton is the blessing from God to become Attorney General, or Rudy Giuliani or Sidney Powell or somebody like that would go in. These are the people that kind of like the president needs around him. The people that kind of have an axe to grind, right? Like,
yeah, I agree.
I was hoping he was going to make Alina Habba Attorney General, because she's there now, and what she went through in New Jersey was horrific.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people got caught up in the spokes. A lot of people. And you mentioned some names that I'm very interested. We talked about it. Rudy Giuliani made a plea recently where he said, give me 90 days and I'll clean this whole thing up for you. Just give me the chance. And he was so tied to Donald Trump. I always talk about the elections in 2020 where Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis kind of crisscrossed the country on his behalf. And I would have thought that Rudy Giuliani would have been a natural pick for Attorney General of the United States with his background, his connections to Donald Trump in New York City. And, he prosecuted the 5 families in New York City on RICO charges. So here's somebody who can understand conspiracies. He understands how all this stuff is interconnected and has shown an ability to prove it. I think Rudy Giuliani is probably what you need. Have you tried to get a hold of Rudy Giuliani? Is there any contact with him through maybe some New York sources?
When I lived in Staten Island, I voted for him. I was a big Giuliani guy. Loved him. Similar, he loved Staten Island. He wasn't from Staten Island, but he loved it, and he was a regular in and around Staten Island. I've tried. I don't know if I don't have the right channels to connect with him, but now he lives in Palm Beach, so now he lives a half hour from me now, and I've tried, but I also don't have the resources to go have dinner somewhere and hope to run into him either.
Yeah, all your money's frozen, so it makes it a little difficult,
right? Food on the table is a struggle these days.
Have you tried to do any form of donation for you?
I have a give, send, go, but somebody put it up for me for $50,000. It's raised like $1,200 because white collar gets a bad rap, right? It's everybody's been mentally conditioned that if it's a financial crime, the person did it. And it's Rob, I have a group of like 50 people on X, doctors, general contractors, anything. And you could imagine that they just went against the previous administration or administrations from Obama, still going. And just because they were just same thing. The only thing that we have in common, this ugly fraternity that we've kind of established, has been because we were all Trump supporters.
Yeah.
They hate. It's the only common thread that we have. Other than that, I don't know how I would have met these people. I've met people from here all the way to California that and everywhere in between. It's unbelievable. And forget about me. Let's play for the congressman and the midterms coming up. I'm not going to be able to vote. You think my wife's ever going to vote Republican?
We talk about it pretty much on the daily.
You think my parents are going to vote?
Right.
My sister, her husband? I got 6 people. You think the 10 or 12 closest friends I still have left are ever going to vote?
Right.
Once they
and
read
then all
the
the
story.
and then all the thousands of people that hear your story are going to be disheartened by it as well. You know, it's a
Right.
real
So
political
what does that
problem.
do? Forget
Right.
about the SAVE Act. Save us. And we're going to repay it. We're the ones, like, I repaid it. Like, when the election got stolen, all I wanted to do was support the man that gave me my American dream. That's all I cared about, because we were doing okay. But when his Securities and Exchange Commission opened the door to them publicly saying that they believe my sector is something the regular mom and pop investor should invest, it opened the door.
Right.
And our business blew up like bonkers. And trust me, I'm never given a dime to a political party in my life. And I was given, I mean, we were doing so well. I had an account that was every 2 weeks was giving $1,500 to the Republican Party. Look, I have the life membership certificate there. I have a card that they mail me every year. Do you think they've ever answered one of my pleas? Do you think they've ever even responded to a letter? Every time they mail me, look, I have a letter here. They want more donations, right? I wrote a letter and I put it in there. I'm like, how do you expect they ask me for money when
they don't come to your rescue? Yeah, they don't come to your rescue when they're needed. That's the whole point of representative government.
Right. They take my letters, they take my multiple letters that I've sent to them and turn it into toilet paper. So I think a lot of people are going to be angry and not vote Republican because they just mad at what's going on. And I think that's the wrong move. But you can't, the emotions of the people are going to lead to certain things. And if a friend of mine doesn't vote Republican because of this happened to me or a relative or my wife, I can't blame her.
Yeah, you understand it.
I fully sympathize. Forget understand, right? If my wife doesn't want to vote, I fully understand it. And that's the part I think, forget about me for a second. I think as a nation, I think that needs to be publicized more than the SAVE Act that they put all the stress on. It's making sure the Republicans are there to vote, because if the Republicans don't show up, the idiot Democrats will. The purple hair, the gray hair, the trans, all these idiots are going to show up to vote, because all they showed is that they've showed that they operate as a unit. They show up a unit with anger and anti-America rhetoric and all the other things. But at the end of the day, it's about keeping this country safe from them.
100% agree. You know, I've even made the comment, and I know this is a little bit off your case here, but just so we're on that topic, I've made the argument that if we don't get something together really quickly, that's exactly what's going to happen. And you're going to, Donald Trump has consolidated a lot of power because, the public sees him as somebody that will protect us from this insanity that was going on in the left, right? So a lot of people have emotional ties to what Donald Trump is trying to get accomplished, what he ran on and so forth. And I continue to say, unless something happens really quickly, the midterms are coming up. Unless something happens really quickly, I think the whole tide of public perception is going to change, just exactly like you're saying. And if the Democrats, with all that consolidated power that's in the executive branch right now, if they get the keys to the kingdom in 2026 and 2028, Katie bar the doors, we're going to live in a completely different country. They're already talking about Texas turning blue, right? So if that does, the electoral map turns blue, and you're basically over. You're basically in a one-party system that thinks that kids should transition at age 8 from boy to a girl. And that will be the world that we're living in. That's why these stories, the Republican Party thinks that I am trying to destroy them. And I said, no, you got it all wrong. I think you probably might be on the same page after hearing what you had to say. We're trying to help you before it's too late. These stories are real. People are hurting. They're frustrated. They believe they've been misled. When they need you, you're not returning our calls. When people are hurting, We need you to show us that you care about the people that have supported you, the people that have given you money, the people that were on your campaigns, the people that speak out and took all the knives and arrows for Donald Trump. We want you to know that we're here for you so long as we feel that you're here for us. And I think that's exactly where you're at. That's where I'm at. I bring a lot of people on. I want the Republican Party and the conservative movement and libertarianism and small government. I want that to succeed. And it's not succeeding because there's too many people in the party, at least from my perception, that are just allowing this to happen as though we're on cruise control, and everybody's lives that get destroyed by it. They don't seem to show much empathy or emotion in that direction. Is that kind of where you're feeling right now? Because I promise you, that's where my audience, that's where my audience is at.
I mean, think about it, right? Like I said, okay, I've given you support, right? I've never in my life know how to even donate to a Republican Party, right? I never in my life, right? I could say I was a Republican my whole life, yeah, probably, but I've never given a penny. And the frustrating part is when I had it, I was paying it forward, and now the paying it forward is being totally ignored, right? At least mail me a letter back and say, hey, listen, we can't do anything for you.
Right.
I'll take that. You know what? I'll take that rather than a level of ignoring me and just having my letters being ignored. And it's not like I'm just mailing letters. I found heads of the RNC on LinkedIn. I've on X. I've emailed, and because when I become obsessed with something, now I'll do it. The iPhone lets you just hit send again. So I wake up, I hit send again and send again and send again. And so it's not like, oh, he sent this one email and it just went to the junk folder. I sent it 75 times. And they still haven't cared.
All right, brother. If people want to donate to you, if people want to find you, if people want to help you in any way, shape, or form, you might just get, I always say the Lord works in very mysterious ways, man. Right when you feel like your back's up against the wall, something good can happen. Maybe somebody hears this presentation today. They want to help. Maybe they have a connection that you can use, or maybe have an attorney that has a connection that can be beneficial to you. Is there a way to find you? Is there an email, or is there if people just want to contact you? Maybe it's just support, right? Maybe they just want to support you financially or emotionally or what have you. How do people reach out to Michael Castellero?
They can find me on X at Mike C0921.
Mike C0921.
Mike C0921, correct.
Okay.
I have a Give Send Go / Mike Legal, and just pray for me. Just not pray for me, pray for my wife and kids.
We're going to do that, I promise you, my friend. So what's going to happen is Isaiah is the producer. He's going to send you a message here in just a second. Will you put that down? Just text him back the information, and we'll push it. We won't just do it today. We'll push it until we get some resolution for you. I'll be Ann Vandersteel's on my show next. I think it's this Thursday. She's going to come on the show. We'll talk about it again. Just like MMTLP, just like Jeffrey Winehouse, just like all of these stories that we're beginning to hear. I promise you, we won't leave you. We'll stick with you. We'll continue on the story. It won't be just a one and done. We'll find out what's going on with you all the way through the process. And if something good doesn't happen, we'll ratchet up the pressure. We'll get the information out further and further on the social media. And hopefully at some point, somebody's going to recognize your story and give you the help that you deserve.
I hope so. All those connections you said you had. I love, I love an introduction or something to help me, man, because I don't care what they do to me, right? Like I look at it all the time, Rob. If they put me in jail, I'll have a roof over my head. I got to go there. And what are my wife and kids going to have?
Yeah.
Right. And that's the mountain that I'm fighting.
I get it. I 100% get it.
Not because I don't want to go to jail or anything else like that. I don't care what you want to give me. I'll take whatever you want to give me. Just leave my wife and kids out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to take care of your family. I get it, my friend.
Right.
You'll get a text message. We'll keep the story in the public eye as long as it takes to find you some justice. And I appreciate you coming on and telling your story, man. I really do. I pray for you. I know Isaiah will pray for you. This audience will pray for you, and we'll be in touch very quickly. I'll recap it a little bit later on tonight with you. I'll send you a text and we'll stay in contact. Is that fair?
Thank you, Rob.
You got it. God bless, my friend.
God bless you.
God bless you. Have a great day. Oh, Isaiah, that's kind of hard to listen to, is it not? Just, I mean, you're a father, you got 2 young kids at home, and it only.
Yeah. Mind if I pray for him really quick?
Please.
Lord, we just thank you for this day. We just thank you for all the opportunities that you present to us. And and how you bless us in so many ways above and beyond anything we could ever ask, think, or imagine, Lord. We ask right now that you would just intervene and that you would just speak to President Trump right now to look at that note that he was given and to find out any opportunity that he can to look at this case and give a pardon to not only Mike, but his associates, the other two that were mentioned, Lord, that it would be taken care of swiftly. In the name of Jesus, we ask this. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Man, that's very hard. As a
Yeah.
new father, 2 kids, I can't imagine. I was going to put his family up there, but it was just, I didn't want to because it was so emotional. But I felt like he did such a great job of just helping people understand. It's personal. It's not anything to do with any money or anything. I didn't hear him say, "Oh, poor me, they're taking all my money away." No, that was, it was he's saying, "Well, I have money. I don't have access to it. But I'm just worried where's my family going to sleep? Where are they going to go?"
Everything.
That's a great question. That's what I think any father thinks if they're have something like this that happens to them. What is my family going to do? If I'm the provider, who's going to be providing? Right? There's no insurance for, I got arrested, so can you keep paying my family?
Right. And that's what I try to keep my emotions in check. But that's the one thing that fathers always think.
Yeah,
I'm the defender of my family.
Yeah.
And to be taken out, for that to happen, and you could feel the emotion. You read people, right? You can always read people wrong, but you read people, and you can kind of feel that he this is unjust.
Yeah,
This
it
is
doesn't feel like Jordan Belfort to me.
No. And that's what I saw somebody on social media say that too.
Yeah,
you can feel what he's going through. You can kind of just feel it. He's seems to be a great American. Living the American dream, coming from Panama when he was 10 years old, trying to raise his family, and got into a business that he was able to succeed at. He's living the American dream. He's having a great life. And then all of a sudden you have the Southern District of New York. And if it's true, as Ann Vandersteel said, if it's true that there was nobody hurt, Jeffrey Weinhaus says every single time I get on the phone with Jeffrey Weinhaus, and I'll just kind of skip around to these stories here, but every time I get on the phone with Jeffrey Weinhaus, he goes, "Rob, I'm in prison for 30 years. And he goes, "Who was hurt? I was shot 4 times. Twice in the chest, twice in the forehead. I hurt nobody ever. I didn't do anything to anybody, and I'm in prison. I'm in prison for something that I can demonstrate on camera did not happen." Right?
Yeah.
It's the same situation here. I think what blows people away is when they hear stories of powerful government entities that have no worry in the world about putting somebody behind bars and leaving their families out to suffer. They just don't seem to care. Let's say that he was running some form of a scheme, right? I'm not saying that happened. In fact, I don't think that it did.
Yeah, funny that they said Ponzi-like. He's so right. It's like It's either one or it's not.
It's either Ponzi scheme or it's not. And and then you get into a situation where the government is coming after you for something that that you didn't do.
Yeah.
But you have no way to help yourself. That's why we keep talking about the digital money. When they froze his bank accounts, now what do you do? What do you do?
Yeah.
And it's just like MMTLP. These are complicated stories to where you can't just walk up to somebody and go, "Hey, let me explain to you what happened to me." Because in order to explain it properly, first of all, you have to it'd be like a doctor talking to another doctor. These are very complicated financial situations that people on Wall Street and people that do private equity and people that invest, must know in order to get involved in it. But somebody like me, Ann Vandersteel's, she's brilliant with explaining these things. That's not my cup of tea. I'm not somebody who, I'm not even somebody who, I don't even like to manage my own money. my wife will tell you.
Yeah, Rick Babbitt's can do that, right?
Rick Babbitt's is doing it. I mean, I never was somebody that cared all that much about money. I just didn't. I wanted to make it, Isaiah. I've explained this many times. Just like every American, my sense of success was financial.
The rat race.
I grew up, it was a rat race. I'm like a rat race. I wanted to make sure that, when I had a family, that they would look up to their father because their father allowed them to go to private school if they wanted to. If they wanted to play baseball or hockey or cheerlead or golf or whatever they wanted to do, that I could provide those opportunities for them. I wanted to make sure that when they went through high school and they got into college, that their father would be somebody that was connected to people, so they would have all the kinds of opportunities to make their life better, right? That was very important to me. And at the same time, it's very important to me that our government doesn't take that away from us. That the people that hear these stories don't just glaze over and go, well, it ain't me. You know, I got a little teary-eyed when he was talking, but it's on to the next, because as I am a firm believer that it ultimately is going to happen to you. If you ignore these things, these injustices that happen, if you ignore them, if you don't get involved, if you don't try to help in some way, even if it's just about telling people, maybe you don't have money, or maybe you're working your tail off, but just perpetuating the story. Maybe go out on the X and say, hey, I just watched this interview. What's happening to this guy? Tag him on it. Just spread this word, because you never know. When you start to spread things, you never know who's going to hear it. You never know who's going to come to help. But if you just hold it in and you don't do anything, then you can rest assured that not much good is going to happen. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. It reminds me of, the whole cancel culture back in the day when it was happening, and Kanye was canceled, and Nick Fuentes, and that's when Laura Loomer was being canceled, and she had her mental breakdown.
Yep.
And so, but it's once your assets are frozen, and that's how you made things happen before, influence, or your business, or whatever it is, right? Then you have no money. If you have employees, they might stay around for a little while. But then once there's no money flowing, it's like, all right, well, I got to move on. And people start trickling away. And that's kind of what sounds like happened to him.
Yeah.
As
you start to lose all your friends, they don't talk to you. It's like when you go through a divorce, right? When you go through a divorce, which I hope you never have to go through a divorce. I don't think that's going to happen to you. But if you ever go through a divorce, what happens
Marriage for life.
Yeah, you have marital friends, right? And then if it's a contested divorce, or people or there's animosity between the two, friends of yours that you love, that maybe you went on vacation with, maybe you raised your kids with them. Now they have to determine, do they want to be with you? Do they want to be with your spouse? And this happens in these kind of situations too. People just go, I'm going to stick by him because I believe in him. I believe in his story, or they just move on to the other side and jump on the bandwagon as you're a thief or you're a bad husband or bad wife, or that kind of thing. So we've all been through it. Everybody goes through it at some point, not necessarily the divorce, but those hard times where people make decisions on who you are and determine who your friends are. Can we do Grace Hauling and Rocket Careers?
Let's do it.
I want to pay for the show. Can we pay for the show?
I know we have to.
I'm told you're not supposed to
pay my
say
babysitter.
That. I'm told you're not supposed to say that. I was told that in the radio business, but I think it's the reality of it. If you
we're trying to be transparent about it.
Trying to be transparent. We have to put this baby on. This is not cheap. The energy is not cheap, and the ability to do the technical things, get the right cameras. We're going to go to DC. We're going to start interviewing people in Congress. I mean, we got a whole thing going on here. The ultimate idea is that as this begins to mushroom, we want to develop I call it free citizens, but we want to create journalism that is independent, because journalism right now in this country is not independent. The good ones that really just want to get the story out, tell you exactly where they're coming from. If you're a Democrat who believes in transgender surgery at age 8, you're probably not going to like what I have to say. That's fine. But at least I'm telling you, I'm not down with it. I'm not lying to you and trying to get your money and telling you something different. You go, I don't want to listen to that guy because I'm down with transgenders at 8 years old, right? Yeah. At least we're transparent. When we bring you stories, there's not an agenda other than to get the story out the way we understand it. We invite debate. We invite conversation. We let the people that disagree with us come on. This is real media. This is what it's supposed to be like. You're watching right now the way media was intended to be, and you can't really get it in many places anymore. You should have free, independent media where even the advertisers know. Every advertiser that deals with me knows you can't tell me what to say. You can't go, Rob, I love Donald Trump, and when you criticize, I'm not going to advertise with. Well, fine. Then I don't want you to. I don't even want you to start with me, because I'm going to tell you what I see, and we're going to have a conversation about it as a society. All right. Who do you want to start with? You want to go Grace, or you want to go Grace Hauling? GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com. Outstanding customer service, competitive pricing, been around since 1998. There's my good friend Gary Schneider and his lovely wife. Commercial businesses, 2, 4, 6, and 8-yard dumpsters. If you're driving anywhere in St. Charles County, for sure, you're going to see Grace Hauling trash cans and dumpsters and trucks everywhere. Great business because they're great people. As he told me, Rob, but for the grace of God, I would not have such a thriving business. If anything rubbish, anything trash, whether it be residential or commercial, GraceHauling.com, 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 as it is right there on your screen. I got to emotionally recover from that last.
I know. I was going to say you're getting a little choked up from Michael.
I did. The whole thing was just I've I can only imagine what that feels like. It gave me the kind of the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I just cannot imagine being in that situation. And who knows, I fight the government on a daily basis. So sometimes those things hit home, sometimes more than they should, because you say, but for the grace of God, there goes I. All right. GraceHauling.com, people. Don't forget GraceHauling.com for all your residential or commercial trash and rubbish needs. GraceHauling.com. And then we got to do my man Mitch. Talked to him last night. He had a little breakup with his lovely girlfriend, so he was a little bummed out yesterday. I love you, Mitch. You'll rebound very quickly. RocketCareers.com, ROCKIT Careers.com for all the medium and small businesses out there who do not have human resources, or human resources doesn't get the job done. It is cost effective. Talk to them. They'll find the right person for the right positions within your business. It's coast to coast, and they've been at it for a long time. Plus, you'll love Mitch and his friend Brian. They are just terrific people. They actually care whether they place you. It matters to them whether they get you a good job. They're trying to do good things because they're good people. RocketCareers.com. You can reach them at 636-778-2419, 636-778-2419. Rocket, ROCKIT Careers.com. And then once and for all, as we say every day, if you hate your job or you're out of work and you need some help with the resume, the elevator pitch, the connections, you name it, they will take care of you. Just give them a call. Nice, simple call could help you launch a new career. RocketCareers.com, ROCKIT Careers.com, 636-778-2419. All right, let's bring in my next guest. This is Aaron Baker. I apologize for me, just a little late for you, Aaron. You're running against my man Randy Fine down here in. You're right in my area. In fact, I'm gonna meet you. You have an event in DeLand, Florida. I think is it tomorrow or the next day? You're gonna be in DeLand, Florida. I was looking on your website. Oh, he can't hear. He's not hearing me.
It's on his side. It's your side.
Can you text him? Well, let me see. Can you text him and say it's probably on his end?
Here we go.
He said he got it.
Let's try again.
Can you hear us now, Aaron? I don't think you can.
It's on his end.
Can you call him maybe?
Let's see here. Yep. Let me go ahead. Give him a
it's
call.
It's funny because this happens a lot where people don't have their mic turned on or something. Because I can hear him. He can't hear us.
Let's see.
Wonder why he can't hear us though.
It's been an issue with if people join on their phones. But I'm going to play the video of Randy Fine while I'm giving him a call.
Go ahead. Great.
Let's go ahead and pull that up.
This is his campaign video right now.
A morally bankrupt monster who gleefully celebrates the slaughter of innocent children, fuels deadly violence, and shamelessly boasts about it online. This is no leader. This is a danger. Even AIPAC, the pro-Israel powerhouse, briefly disowned this Israel-obsessed fanatic for his genocidal rants.
We nuked the Japanese twice. That needs to be the same here.
He claims to represent you, but lives 100 miles south of his district. This hypocrite pushes laws to silence hate speech.
Is a hate crime. It will be a third-degree felony.
While spewing his own hateful venom. He calls for starving children to death while gorging at taxpayer expense. Unforgivable. In Florida's 6th district, families battle 5.3% unemployment, frozen wages, and skyrocketing costs, while Fine wages war for Israel. Enough. It's time to crush his hateful agenda and foreign betrayal. Tell Randy Fine, pack it up and move to Israel.
Paid for by Azapac.
Now can you hear us?
I certainly can.
There's my man. I was saying I live in DeLand, and you have a you're running against Randy Fine. I'm a very large critic of Randy Fine. Now you can't? I want to talk to Aaron. I don't know what's going on. Maybe Isaiah, any ideas?
We could have him try to call in.
Did you talk to him?
Can you hear me, Aaron?
Nope, he's not hearing
anybody. He can't hear either of us. Okay, right, let me go ahead and give him a call. Okay.
He's gonna try again.
Yep.
What do you think it is?
No idea. It's nothing on our end. It's just it's something on their end when they're joining, because everyone else can hear you in the world.
I want to meet him. He's going to be in my hometown. That's what I'm talking to him about. I want to go see him.
He's hit the ground pretty hard.
Yeah.
How about now?
I can hear you both now.
You can't hear us.
I can.
Okay. We have no idea what goes on in the world, Aaron. And hopefully you'll be able to hear us for the next 30 minutes or so, because I really want to pick your brain here just a little bit. You're running against Randy Fine in the 6th Congressional District. I live in DeLand, Florida.
Okay.
You have an event coming up, I think, in a day or two. I'd like to come out and meet you because Volusia County and Randy Fine, I don't even understand how that mixed. I don't get it. He seems to be despised by everybody that I talk to. So I'm interested to find out what your take is, number one, on him, and then what you would like to do for the 6th Congressional District of Florida. So welcome to the show. Sorry for the little technical hiccups we had there. Was looking through your website. I love that video that you put out about Randy Fine, because I feel the exact same way about him. Please introduce yourself to the audience, and we'll make sure we get it out to as many people as we can, and make sure that your voice is heard.
So I'm just your normal everyday guy. I'm business partners with a general contractor in Eustis, Florida, so straight across 44.
Yep.
I was actually in DeLand this morning dropping off petitions at the supervisor of election, right there on the corner of International Speedway Boulevard in Woodland.
Okay.
So literally, that was my morning errands. But to your point, I don't think that Mr. Fine fits this congressional district very well. I think if you go back and look at some of the past representatives that we had, Congressman Waltz was working on the Life Saving Gear for Police Act. I was working on the Army Corps of Engineers coming up with a study for beach erosion mitigation. Those are both things that need to be done in this congressional district. The biggest thing that I saw, so on my way back from DeLand this morning, I stopped at the 7-Eleven, the newer one that's right on 44 in Lake County, because I live over here in Lake County. The person in front of me got $8.63 worth of gas. And then I look over and the person got $13 worth of gas, and the person got $9 worth of gas. What the government is currently doing is killing not just the middle class, but the people that were living paycheck to paycheck. They're not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. They're living day to day. I mean, somebody that's getting $8 worth of gas, that tells me that they're saying, how can I get to work and back from work today? And that's it. So, there's some other things that I'd like to do beyond that. Certainly term limits. I've signed the term limit pledge. I think we need to tackle congressional stock trading. I've pledged to not trade any individual stocks once elected. We have a lot of infrastructure needs in Volusia County, Flagler County. If you live in Flagler Estates, anytime it rains more than 3 inches, the whole place floods.
Right.
I mean, this is madness. I mean, if you look at, I can't drive to downtown Mount Dora right now because the road washed away when we had 18 inches of rain.
And I love Mount Dora.
I do too. I love it. I mean, I love to go to downtown Mount Dora. It's a great place. It's a beautiful, just hometown little city. So, a lot of the infrastructure needs, we need to pay attention to this country and not the rest of the world. Certainly beaches goes along with the beach erosion mitigation. And the biggest forgotten thing that I hear is the farmland. No one from the Florida delegation do I ever hear speaking about, how we're going to protect our farmland.
What is your take on AI data centers? Big controversy in the state of Missouri. We had Paul Renner on recently, who's running for governor. You're not a fan of the AI. So you're a Republican now in the state of Missouri, because I go back and forth between Missouri. My family was from Missouri, so I basically began my operation in Missouri because that's where my contacts were. And, now I'm starting to get familiar with what's going on in Florida. The AI data centers is a big deal in Missouri. Paul Renner said he was against them, but in Missouri, the Republican Party is pushing AI data centers like crazy. And I'm like, what is going on around here? This isn't a left or right thing. This is the people don't want it. It's that simple.
Well, if we look at the infrastructure and there are two different things in Florida that we have to look at. We have to look at the electrical supply. We all know that our power rates are going to go up by about 40% over the next 4 years. That's already baked in. So we don't have the energy to run AI data centers. And most importantly, we don't have the water requirements. Right now in Volusia County, there's a ballot initiative, or they're trying to get it on the ballot in November, called Toilet to Tap. So what they're doing is they're trying to take reclaimed water and put it back in the aquifer, because basically we don't have enough water. And it's not just a Volusia County problem, it's a statewide problem. We're in the middle of a really bad drought. Fortunately, over the last 24 hours, we've had a little bit of precipitation.
A sprinkle.
A sprinkle, but I mean, dear Lord, we need, I'm at the point where I need to go outside and do a rain dance. Water, most people don't think about where we are in Florida with water, because you just think that water's kind of everywhere.
Right.
But it might be everywhere, but at the same time, we're running short on water.
Water usage.
We don't want in Volusia County toilet to tap. I mean, I haven't found 3 people that actually want to take reclaimed water and put it back in the aquifer. Right. However, in Hillsborough County, they're already doing it.
What's your take on because you made a comment earlier that always reminds me of my opinion of Randy Fine. He doesn't really talk about Florida very often. I mean, most of the time when I hear him talking, it's got something to do with Israel. It's got something to do with Gaza. I mean, his whole persona in the state of Florida is the protection of Israel, which is all fine and dandy. But I don't really see that he is pushing for anything that is Florida. I just don't see it very often. His public persona is always attached to Israel. Are you noticing that? Am I the only one that notices that?
No, you're 100.
It's almost like he works for a foreign government out of Volusia County. It's bizarre.
Well, I mean, you're 100% correct. In Volusia County and Flagler County, what are people concerned about? They're concerned about the cost of living in beaches and infrastructure. Congressman Fine did get some appropriations for Flagler County. However, they need about $12.3 million a year ongoing. Volusia County needs more because they have more coastline. But we really need to get back to what Congressman Waltz was working on, which is the Army Corps of Engineers coming in and being able to complete a study and saying, okay, this is how we're going to address this long term. And, we just haven't had that. So to your point, we need to focus a lot more on local issues and a lot less on international issues.
Yeah, he's making a name for himself. He goes on the podcast circuit, and it's always about Israel. Everything's about Israel every time he does these podcasts and these interviews. Did Donald Trump, because Donald Trump endorsed him when he took over for Michael Walz, or has he endorsed Randy Fine again? He has. So in this particular election coming up, he's endorsed Randy Fine again. What do you make of that?
It's just Susie Wiles and her band of thieves.
It's really that simple, isn't it? It certainly feels that way.
I mean, it is. I mean, you look at, Susie Wiles is, it's been said that she's coming back to Florida because she was diagnosed with cancer.
She was Netanyahu's campaign manager in Israel.
I mean, I will pray for her recovery on that front. However, I think that she's coming back because they're concerned about Byron, has a lot stiffer competition than they ever expected.
Well, and he's got some charges that are coming up against him, him and Corey Mills. So that's going to be bad news for him as far as public relations are concerned. I got to ask you, any AIPAC money? Because I would assume AIPAC is going to go after Randy Fine in a big way, which makes it very difficult, as I understand it, which is funny because when I think of politics, right, I think that there's a pushback. The people that surround me, the people that I talk to, they don't like Randy Fine. I mean, viscerally don't like Randy Fine.
Sure.
So when I see what's going on in Volusia County in Florida, it seems to me like he's not a popular person. But then he's going to get flooded with money, I would assume, from AIPAC and people associated with AIPAC. So he's going to have this big war chest. I don't really understand politics that well, so maybe you can explain it to me because you're right in the midst of it. How does money buy public opinion? I don't think there's no amount of money that's going to make and especially where he's getting the money, there's no amount of money that's going to make Volusia County like Randy Fine. I just don't see that anywhere. So how is he going to win a race when I don't even think you have to be a really a powerful candidate to go against Randy Fine, but the money seems to, everybody in Missouri tells me you got to have X amount of thousands of hundreds of $1,000s to win a campaign. I'm like, well, not if we got somebody in Missouri who was booed in her own hometown and she still wins the election. I mean, booed. I mean, in a gymnasium. How does it work?
So here's what happens. Let's go back to the special election, because I ran in the special election in January of last year. I had about $30,000 to run the special election. So my cost per vote was about $6, because I ended up with a little more than 5,000 votes. He had $3 million in the primary.
Crazy.
So his cost per vote came out to about $100 per vote. So if you flood enough people's mailboxes with a picture of you and President Trump, because keep in mind this was right after Trump was elected, so he's very popular at that point, and this Trump carried this district by 30 points.
Right.
So most people just went along with the show. However, this time around, when I've never seen the level of hostility right now toward Republicans in Central Florida that I see being out there every day. And I've talked to a lot of different groups, and they're like, we're just done until President Trump is not in office. And I keep saying, well, that can't be the answer. We can't potentially let a Democrat take the seat. Congressman Fine won by 14 points, so underperformed Trump by 16 points. However, what we see now in the special elections in Florida is that number is being underperformed by about 14 points. So that makes it a dead even race, and you take into account half of the things that Congressman Fine has said over the course of time. May the streets of Gaza overflow with their blood.
Insane.
It's
psychopath
just,
babble. It's just unbelievable to me. I always say, how can somebody represent the people of Central Florida saying the blood should the babies' bloods and showing reposting pictures of babies in rubble? I mean, the level of distaste and just aggressiveness toward humanity is just bizarre to me. And I don't even understand how this guy gets any press. There are people that they put him up on these podcasts and stuff. I watch him every now and then, and they act like they like Randy Fine. I'm like, this guy seems like he should be in a rubber room somewhere, and much less representing the people of Central Florida. So, man, I am rooting for you hard. If there's anything I can do for your campaign, how do people find you? If they want to get a hold of you, if they want to donate money, if they want to learn more about you, how do they go about it?
Sure. My website's very easy. flaaron.com.
FLAaron, AARON. Aaron, as the comedian used to say.
Aaron.
Man, I'm looking forward to meeting you. When I heard you were going to be in DeLand, I'm like, I'll run up and see this guy in DeLand. When is it? Do you know when you're here again? Are you here Thursday to Wednesday? When are you here?
I can't hear you again.
Oh, when you put that up on the screen, he can't hear me. Isaiah, how about now? Oh, he went gone. All right. Well, we'll talk to him. We'll get his stuff up, and then we'll talk to him later. Aaron, I appreciate you joining the show, man. I'll be back in touch. We'll have to give him a call. You have his number, Isaiah? I don't know what's going on with the.
Yeah, I have his number.
Yeah, he's waving. Okay, so we'll get him back on. I want to meet up with him. I think he's going to be in my town. Let me look him up. Can you have his website? Can we pop his website up again? Because I think he's going to be in DeLand, and so he's on with me today. Then it says Lake County Republicans, Volusia County Executive Committee. Where's it say DeLand? Nah, go back.
Doesn't look like it. The Venetian Center in Leesburg.
Lake County.
Volusia County. Right here. Volusia County Republican Executive Committee meeting.
So that's Thursday. It's perfect. So I can go.
Yep.
So I'll go meet with him on Thursday. I want to help his campaign. Can you put his campaign info on there as well? So if people want to.
It's scrolling on the bottom.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Aaron, I apologize. The sound was off back and forth. If you're listening, we'll get in touch with you, and I'll meet you on Thursday for sure. I'd love to help him raise some money and have him be. The fact that Randy Fine is the representative in my area is just. It's almost like it's a bad joke for me. You know what I mean?
Yep.
My perception of what is happening, and then having Randy Fine be my representative is kind of hard to stomach for me. Right?
Should we do Valvoline Express?
Let's do it. Let me get up my Valvoline Express information. I got Valvoline. Man, I got so much going on here with these. We're having a lot of advertisers reach out to us. It's funny because the thing that you and I talked about when we left the radio was advertising. I was most concerned because I said, my advertisers are local. They're also very politically savvy, right? So they want to help. They like what I'm doing. They like the fact that I don't think it's hyperbolic anymore. I did when I first got here. I was very disillusioned. So when I first got to the radio in St. Louis, I was a little bit of a I don't know, a firebrand, if you will. It's not my nature necessarily, but when I was watching what was happening, it was so aggravating to me that I got very loud and very confrontational. And subsequent to that, I thought, you know what, I'm probably gonna turn just as many people off in the Republican Party as I'm going to drag into my conversation. So why don't I just do it in a different way? And I'll try to create debate, right? I invited him to my opening. We sold 275 tickets, 310 people showed up, right? So I'm thinking, okay, now we're starting to get this baby off the ground. And I thought that the people involved with peopleslobbymo.com, and I'm talking about the politicians, well, they would see that we were giving them an olive branch. You know, the grassroots got really mad at me for that, Isaiah. So when I brought in these politicians to speak, I gave them like almost 45 minutes just to come up and say, hey, listen, here's who I am. Here's what I stand for. Here's how you contribute to my campaign, this kind of thing, which I was told I shouldn't have done. But I'm like, no. I want to at least extend an olive branch so they see that we are all trying to be on the same page.
I don't believe
it really didn't do me any good, Isaiah.
I know someone don't like to hear this. Some people don't like to hear this, and some people have different viewpoint than me. Well, I am pretty aggressive, I would say, and confrontational. I would say that I don't burn bridges.
I don't like to burn bridges either.
Yeah, I still like to be able to work within what the Constitution or the Missouri Constitution allows me to do, and make things happen that way. And work with these people who maybe don't agree with us, right? But how can we find something that we do agree on and have common ground and move forward?
My problem is, my biggest problem is that I don't have the patience or the demeanor when I see that people are corrupt.
Yeah.
I just can't hide my disdain for them. And I end up getting myself in trouble because I eventually blurted out at the most inopportune time. And it's a flaw. Isaiah, you pray for me real fast? Just Rob.
Oh, Lord, we just pray for Rob that you would just give him the spirit of wisdom, the wisdom of Solomon, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. That's exactly what I need, the spirit of wisdom, because sometimes my temperament gets ahead of me and it's not good. It might be good radio, but I don't know that it's good for solving things. So I'm just trying not to.
Well, you know that Paul, just so you know, so you don't hold yourself to too high of a standard.
That ain't happening.
Paul says, Saint Paul, right? We revere him.
Yep.
He says that his whole life there was still a thorn in his side that he could never overcome. And it's a sin in his life. He doesn't say what it is, but he says there's something in his life that he can't overcome. And a lot of people, they speculate, right? And a lot of theologians would say it was his ego because he was so educated and so smart that was the thorn in his side that it was so hard for him to overcome. There's many other things, but that is not
something that hinders me. I do not think I'm smarter than other people. I do believe.
No, but he had something that was inside of him that was, he felt like was holding him back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, there's, everybody's flawed, right?
Yeah.
I'm at 56, you become very self-aware with your flaws, right? I have many. Like I said, I could roll out a scroll and we couldn't get to the bottom of it with all the flaws that I have. But being honest and trying to be decent, those are not my flaws. My flaws are more that I'm temperamental when I see injustice, and I should probably be more wise about the way I go about it. I'm a very good, once I see what's going on, I'm really good at diagnosing cons. I understand how people can orchestrate information. You and I are both in sales, right? Do you think that we can orchestrate information to mislead people if we're trying to sell them something? Isn't that what 95% of salespeople do? Is they try to put forth a scenario that's really crafted out of thin air to change the perception of somebody they're trying to sell something to, right?
So you fear, uncertainty, and doubt. They throw FUD. That's what we call it in sales. Throw FUD: fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
There you go. And that's how you sell things, right? So I recognize when people are doing it. I recognize con jobs pretty easily. I don't always recognize character as much as I want to, because what I find is these politicians are very, very charming, and you want to like them, and they tell you how great you are, and they pat you on the back, and they go, man, I listen to your show all the time. I think you're doing a great job. And then I realize they've bent me over the table here just a little bit later on. I'm like, what happened here? I thought we were buddies. What's going on around here? And then the whisper campaigns. That's another thing that really, I don't want to get off into a tangent because I want to do Valvoline Express Care. But I'm starting to hear, this portrayal of me, right? That this is popping up in some of these circles, and I'm like, well, like I said, I'm flawed, but I'm not a grifter. I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not a Democrat.
You're not an MMTLP shill.
I'm not a shill for anybody. In fact, the reason I want to have the MMTLP debate is because the MMTL people have been kind to me.
Yeah.
They've been very open with me. The people involved have always wanted to take the interviews. And on the other side, these people that are trying to destroy MMTLP, I invited one of their spokespeople on, and she ghosted me.
Wow.
Well, what do you? And then they're all mad at me, like, "Oh, you're biased. You're biased." I'm like, "I'm not biased about anything. I wanted to invite you people on. You didn't come on. What do you want me to do?" Anyway, Valvoline Express.
Put someone forth.
Well, I think they're going to have this woman, Amy, man, the one that.
Oh, they are. So Amy is going to come on. Good. Okay.
Says she's coming on. Can you get her information and maybe get us hooked up on text message? Because I want to talk to Amy before we go on.
Yeah.
Maybe she wants to come on, or somebody that's on the other side of this can come on. I wanted to be fair. I said to him last night on a post that I put on X, I said, the reality is we're looking for transparency. I mean, if you're against transparency, then we're on the different page. But if everything that you say is true, don't you want everybody to see it? That's all we're asking for. If what MMTLP did or what their CEOs did is this horrible scam that they perpetuated on investors, then why are you fighting me when I say that I want to create a forum where you guys can hash it out? What are you fighting me for? And they're calling me names, and I'm like, good Lord. And then did you see? I posted it on X. Did you see the YouTube video they did where they were calling me out?
No.
Oh, you got to check that out.
Oh man.
See, I shouldn't say moron. Remember, I told you I wasn't going to do that anymore. You didn't pray hard enough.
No, that's the Holy Spirit reminding you right there. That's what he does. He stops you in the midst right there.
And I apologize for calling this person a moron. He's not a moron that I'm aware of, but he was trying to say that, well, Rob won't have these people on. He would never have our side of the fence on. He's just a shill, and he's a con man, and he's a fraudster, and this and that. I'm like, shilling a con man and a fraudster for what? What do you think I'm getting out of it?
I know.
Isaiah, am I getting some money from somewhere that I don't know? Or is
I was just talking to someone last night. Yeah, I was just talking to someone who's one of our volunteers that helps us organize some interviews and stuff. And I was telling her, I was like, yeah, it's, we're thankful that that these advertisers are going to be with us, and that we're getting some advertisers, because me and Rob, we've not made a penny. We've actually only spent money to get this show off the ground.
Spent money?
Yeah. I know.
I should get my wife on the show one day. I should get my lovely and talented and absolutely
my wife too,
smoking hot wife on the show.
Our wives can tell how much money we spend and how much we don't make them.
We ran through $250,000 by now. Isaiah, I'm getting called a grifter for spending $250,000 of my income and my potential money that I would have made if I'd have stayed in my other position. $250,000, if not more, probably more than that now, in order to do what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand what people are talking about. I mean, just this characterization.
You're a shill.
The characterization is maddening. All right, let's get to Valvoline Express Care. My good friend Tony Clark, he just texted me. Tony Clark will be an advertiser on the show when we get to May 4th. Appreciate you, Tony. I really do. I appreciate his wife, and I love all they do for me. Valvoline Express Care. If you're in the area, they have locations. This is in Missouri: Warrenton, Cape Girardeau, St. Peter's Parkway, Mid Rivers Mall Drive, Troy, Illinois, and Lee May Ferry Road. As I told him, and as I tell everybody, and I mean this sincerely, I do look at your cars when I come across you. If you do not have the Valvoline Express Care sticker on your window, very hard for me to like you anymore. I mean, I'll fake it. I'll smile to your face, but I want you to be invested in the people that invest in this show, because if you're listening to it and you appreciate it and you just like what we're trying to get accomplished, you got to support the advertisers that support Isaiah and I, right? Isaiah, that's the way it goes down.
Right.
And let me tell you why this is a great business. When I first met him, first of all, you can see a lot of humility. I like that, right? You see a humble person. He says, Rob, I like what you have to say. I want to advertise with you, more out of support than anything else. And I said, great, I'll do the best thing I can for you, which is sing your praises to everybody that I know. And he said, let me tell you about my business. He goes, what really we found out, he goes, I've been in this game for a long time, oil changes. And he said, what people want are fast oil changes. He goes, so we pride ourselves 15 minutes from bay to on your way. And he goes, and the other thing that kind of drives people away from getting quick oil changes is the pressure they feel to buy add-ons, right? You go to get an oil change and somebody comes out and they go, oh, you got something going on here. Can we fix the windshield wipers? Your windshield wipers are bad. Your oil filter is bad. And all of a sudden that, $60 or $70 or $80 oil change that you came in to get is $180, $190. And people start to feel uncomfortable with the pressure tactics. This is what he tells me. 15 minutes from beta on your way, no appointments, no sales pressure, all Valvoline branded products. He said it's that simple and fast, friendly service. Valvoline Express Care, if you want to look them up. And if you want the locations, it'll be on their website, Valvoline-expresscare.com. Warrenton, Missouri, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, St. Peters Parkway, Mid Rivers Mall Drive, Troy, Illinois, and Lime Ferry Road.
And I can attest, I am a customer. My wife and I, we live almost an hour away from Warrenton, but our pediatrician is in Warrenton because she's the only pediatrician that will allow us to not give our kids shots.
Yep.
And
I like her already.
They are right next door to the Warrenton location. And so we always get our oil changed when we go to the pediatrician because it only takes 15 minutes. It's so quick. So I can
on your way, baby.
Yeah, I can attest to that myself. 15 minutes from Beta on your way. And I've never felt pressured there. That's the only place that I've ever never felt pressured to change a cabin air filter or.
They always do it, don't they?
Yeah,
I remember. I used to get really frustrated with it because I'm like, no, I don't. The air filter, and they'll bring out the air filter, and it's got a little speck of dust on it. You need a new air filter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want a new air filter. I came in for an oil change. Anyway, all right.
Jones Water.
Let's do joneswater.com. Then we got to get on. I got some other things I want to talk about.
This is the last advertiser, so we
got ECS.
Oh, we do have. Oh my gosh, we got
ECS.
more.
I should get Helen Gelhot, and I should get. We got Rich McQuay is joining. Seems like I'm missing somebody. I'll figure it out. I apologize.
Yeah.
Joneswater.com. 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 636-899-1040. You'll be the filter or you'll buy the filter. Everybody knows Everett Jones. He's been on my show many times. Just a terrific guy. As he likes to say, if you want to do business with him, you got to remember where he's at, right? Here is where joneswater.com does business. On the Missouri side, St. Charles County, Lincoln, Franklin, Warren, St. Louis, and Jefferson. If you go to the east side, Madison, Monroe, Jersey, and St. Clair. For all of your air and water filtration needs. And again, this is what he tells me. He says, Rob, because we were talking about air filtering in your home, and there's one of them that's in Dr. Gelhot's office. It's called Healthway Deluxe Air Purification System. He goes, the reason they're important is it creates all kinds of ailments that most people don't know. You're in a contained environment with dead air for the most part. And he goes, if you have any kind of skin issues or sinus issue or asthma issues, he goes, you got to have clean air. It's like bringing fresh, clean air into your home so that you're breathing, and you can feel it when it's in your when you're home. You can feel the crisp air in your home. Highly recommended. Air filtration or water filtration. Obviously, water filtration, right? I think if you don't have a water filtration system in your home at this point, I just assume you can't afford clean water, which is really sad. But it should be something that you put into your home to protect your family, especially protect your children from illness, waterborne illness, because bad water, there's a lot of gunk in the water nowadays. If you're drinking it from tap, you're cooking with it, you're cleaning with it, you're washing with it. Probably better to get some fresh water. Joneswater.com, 636-899-1040. You'll be the filter or you'll buy the filter. Joneswater.com, Joneswater.com, 636-899-1040. And then ECS Roofing, he's new. He sent me something this morning. He said, and I'm just going to read it because I like this guy because he's very proud of his business. You ever meet people like that are just like, I do things the right way. This is the way I go about it.
I met a guy just in St. Clair the other day who saw me and he's like, hey, you're the new alderman, right? And you're like pro-business. I was like, yeah. And he came up to me. He's like, 3 years ago, I started pushing a lawnmower. And from there, he was really proud to tell me how he started and he was able to work. Now he has a full lawn care business. It was really cool to talk to him about that. But I get that feeling that's what you're talking about.
Well, it's even us. We're on our own now.
Yeah.
You and I, this is really the first time in my life that I've said, okay, no business is coming in unless I bring it in. Right. So I got to work for it. I got to make sure advertisers are taken care of. I got to make sure they know I care about them. And so far, the last 2 weeks have probably, from a personal standpoint and a business standpoint, probably been the most gratifying time in my entire life. Just the support that we're getting is just, I don't want to get emotional. It's been an emotional day with Mike Castellero. I don't want to get in there again, but the support has been unbelievable. ECS Roofing says, Rob, just a thought. The other day, one other area in my business other than storms is retail and new construction. Says, I love the retail and new construction side of business. We run a low overhead so we can pass that savings on to our clients. Our prices can't be beat. Even with that, we offer a Class 3 shingle, ridge vent, and complete installation guarantee, 5-year workmanship warranty on top of the manufacturer's warranty. And you can see him on the screen, ECS Roofing and Exteriors. You can check him out on Facebook. He does Facebook advertising. 314-486-3567. He's a general contractor, so they can do roofing, they can do gutters, they can do garages. But if it's something that they don't specialize in, as he said, he goes, I know the best people in all the areas. So if you have anything going on with your home, I know who the good ones are. And one of the benefits to ECS Roofing, one of the reasons I was drawn to him right away, is he said, Rob, do you get door knockers? And when he said that to me, I'm like, door knockers, what are you talking about? He goes, you know, you get a storm down there, or you get a storm, and then people knocking on your door that they want to fix your roofs. And I said, in Florida? I said, door knockers? I said, now I know what you're talking about. I said, in Florida, every time it storms, you have people knocking on your doors because they want to go run up and tell you that you have some hail damage on your roof, and they're going to be able to get the insurance to get it done. Well, he was talking directly to me when he said that, because it's happened to me, Isaiah.
Yep.
We had the same situation happen in my wife's home when I got down here. We had a storm. People started knocking on our door. They said they could get the insurance to fix the roof. We went through this whole process with them, and they couldn't get it done.
Oh, man.
He's an insurance adjuster. So he deals with the
What you
insurance.
need.
Yeah, he deals with the businesses. And he said, I know what insurance is going to pay for. You don't have to have somebody knock on your door, tell you that they're going to be able to fix your roof because they're going to get insurance to pay for it. And then they're just lying. They're just creating a lead for themselves. He goes, I will tell them right up, the insurance is going to pay for this, or the insurance is not going to pay for this. It's your choice, but I know what I'm looking for. I know what the insurance adjusters are looking for, and I know what's going to go down. And that is the benefit of ECS Roofing and Exteriors. Over 30 years in the business, and a fan of the show and a fan of what we're doing. So again, we got to push them out there. If you're a fan of the show and you've got any roofing, siding, doors, windows, any kind of general contractor service, ECS Roofing. Give them a call at 314-486-3567, or you can check them out on Facebook, ECS Roofing. All right.
Yep.
3 hours.
Hey, I can tell you that I know my buddy owns one of the biggest roofing companies in St. Louis. It's probably the second biggest roofing company in St. Louis. And
I don't like him already.
I know the insurance adjuster. Yeah, like we do ECS, but I
Never
can tell you
mention him again.
just from knowing him and from knowing the industry, having someone, he's not an insurance adjuster. He worked in an insurance world with me, but he's not an insurance adjuster. And having someone like that, that's the people that they're fighting against. You know, that when they come and knock on your door, those roofers are fighting the insurance adjusters to try to get you paid. So someone that was an insurance adjuster, they know the ins and outs better than any roofing salesman could ever know. And so
they save you a lot of time.
that's what excites me about him.
Time, headaches, and hassle when you know how to deal with insurance companies, because most people, when they get their roofs replaced, they want the insurance to help them, right? So somebody who knows the business will be very beneficial, won't waste your time, and you'll know exactly what you're going to get. All right.
Yep. Yeah, Shield Wolf 911. If you reach out to me, you message me on X, I can send you the name of that nurse practitioner. No problem.
Outstanding. You want to talk about some of the other things I had on the list today? What do we got? We got 20 minutes left.
Yeah, we still got time. That's why I wanted to get the
I know
all the ads out for you. So now we got time for another story here.
You did very good. Let's talk about the security at the White House. Did you see the clip that I sent you?
Oh my!
My friend Allie, who was listening, she was busting my tail just a little bit over me saying that there was not very good security. She goes, "That's not true." And she sent me a Washington Post video of people going through the metal detectors.
Yeah,
right?
but it was way inside of the place.
Well, Max, my buddy Max, he sent me like 1,000 pages last night to read, and I got through some of it, explaining the way security is supposed to be versus the way it was.
Exactly.
He goes, this is the way you're supposed to secure a building of this nature. And he's got all the diagrams. I told you he's the smartest person in the world.
Yep.
And he showed me all the diagrams. This is the way it's supposed to be covered. He goes, if it's not done this way, then Secret Service is not doing their job. And it wasn't done this way because this couldn't have happened. It basically showed me the diagrams from Secret Service of how they're supposed to protect that particular building. I mean, sent me the diagrams of it all the way, every floor, everything. I thought, wow, man, this guy is amazing. I got to get him as a part of the show. Max, I know you're listening. You got to be a part of the show, brother. I think you're going to blow people's minds. Yeah, he's
Daily Mail just said that there was 5 shots. I think it was 5 shots. You know, the chat can correct me. They can probably look it up. But Daily Mail said, I think it was 5 shots. But the point of the story is that the Secret Service said shot one of their own on accident.
Really?
That's a report that just came out. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Within the last, I think 12 hours overnight, I think it came out.
Well, let's check this. Let's check this. Cause this is the one that kind of made it all clear for me that there was a security issue. What's this? Is his name's Fiala? Do you know who I'm talking about? He's a comedian that's on Fox News every now and again. My buddy said a friend of mine who I think is, what's the word for him? He is very savvy politically. He likes this guy. Thinks he's very funny. I guess he must have did a radio show at point, and he liked this particular person. And now he's on Fox News, and his career is beginning to mushroom. He was in the press corps, and they caught him. I think it was Fox 5 out there in wherever they were at the Hilton Hotel, and Fox 5 DC, I guess it would be. And they caught who's the guy that goes on Tucker too? Not Tucker. Jesse Waters, the guy that does the end of the show. You ever watched? My dad watches it, so I see this guy all the time. It's like
I only watch Jesse Waters clips he puts out on X.
Okay, well, he's got some guy at the very end of the show that goes around. And he talks to people and he makes everybody laugh. Johnny, I think his name is Johnny something. Well,
Okay.
Johnny. You know what I'm talking about? You know what? You don't.
Johnny.
Johnny. Well, apparently at the end of the Jesse Waters show, there's this guy that goes out and he kind of clips everything together and he does this funny little bit. It's actually really good. And my dad likes it. He laughs at this guy. He thinks he's very funny. So he is the one that is standing next to this other Fox guy, Jimmy something Fiala, I think is his last name.
Oh, yeah. I know that name.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Okay.
He was the one I think that was interviewing Caroline Leavitt or Levitt.
Yeah.
She said shots will be fired, right?
Yep.
So they caught him on a hot mic. Let's play this. It's clip number 11. Check this out because this is the way they were talking about security before the shots rang out at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Check this out. Little cursing, by the way.
Two random chicks holding the front door open. We're not even trying anymore. It's not even like, I just mean like they're not even like Secret Service people. It's like the girls who work here are holding the door. Even if it was the guys, it wouldn't even make it better. It's like she's fine. It's just like they might as well put a doorstop in. Like, they put up a doorstop and a scarecrow. Don't fuck with this guy.
How about that?
Put up a doorstop and a scarecrow.
How about that? He said they
that's
didn't
what I
have
heard
security.
is that people were just able to come in. They, basically like, yeah, I got a ticket. Yeah, I got a ticket. Yeah, I got a ticket. That's the stories that I'm hearing from multiple people.
He said they didn't even have two people working security. They had two people that worked at the hotel, two girls at the hotel waving people in. Here, one more time, because could you hear it, Will? I could hear it on my end. But,
I could hear it well.
Play that one more time because I think it's so fantastic. And I want Allie to let this sink in just a little bit.
Two random chicks holding the front door open.
Two random chicks.
We're not even trying anymore. It's not even like, I just mean like they're not even like Secret Service people. It's like the girls who work here are holding the door. Even if it was the guys, it wouldn't even make it better. It's like she's fine. It's just like they might as well put a doorstop in. Like, they put up a doorstop and a scarecrow. Don't fuck with this guy.
I just think that is so fantastic. And this is why people believe that some of these things are, I was talking to my wife about it this morning and she said, do you think it was staged? And I said, I personally don't have any idea what was going on. I said, I don't really get into that because you can't prove it. Giving my opinion is only going to make one side angry. If I say, yes, I think it's staged, the people are going to call me crazy.
So what do you mean by staged too?
That's exactly what I was trying to get at. That's exactly what I was going to get at. Let me explain it from my point of view, and then you can give people yours. What I'm describing and what I think is going on with all of these situations is you're allowing an event to potentially take place. You're inviting problems to take place, right? So if you invite the problem in, as I told my wife, I said, listen, if I go to the bathroom and I've got my phone on me, the government can watch me. They can watch every single thing that I do. So you would have to believe that in the most secure place, probably on planet Earth at the time, or it should have been, the president of the United States that's had 2 assassination attempts on him. His confidant, Charlie Kirk, was assassinated in broad daylight in front of the entire world, right? So now you have these situations that are happening, much like the 60s, if you remember. Just think of all the assassinations when the world was turning over and flipping around and going crazy in the 60s. Think of all the assassinations just very quickly. If you don't remember, let me count these off for you. I like to do it on my hands, if you don't mind, Isaiah. We started with John F. Kennedy. His brother, Robert F. Kennedy, was assassinated. Yep. Marilyn Monroe, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Dorothy Kilgallen, who was one of the most powerful women in Hollywood or in media at the time. You had 6 major assassinations, strange deaths, whatever you want to call them. And now we have the same thing beginning to happen here in this era, where assassination attempts, it doesn't even catch your attention anymore. I really didn't want to talk about it today. That's how little this meant to me, this situation that took off at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. But if you allow these things to happen, if it's orchestrated in the sense that crazy people are out there in the world, that they're going after political figures, that this is happening because you just watched 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump's life. How in the world does somebody get into a secure area with the president of the United States? What they say, he had a shotgun, a handgun, and 2 knives or something like this. It would have been fun if he came in like Jackie Chan with some nunchucks.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean,
just start video of him running in.
He runs through with some nunchucks. He's just popping people like Jackie Chan with some nunchucks. You know what I mean? It's just crazy that these things are happening because, again, they print money out of thin air. They can create security. If they want security, if they want to create boundaries around the hotel, if they want drones surveilling the hotel, whatever they need, they have the opportunity to provide it for the president of the United States. So for those people that think it is just perfect, I saw Mike Costello again. He said, I think everything worked out exactly the way it was supposed to work. And I'm thinking, well, no, nobody in the hotel other than Secret Service should have had a gun to enter the hotel. That's how it should have worked.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Then you don't have 4 or 5 random shots going through a crowd where very powerful people are there to gather for a function. Okay? So that's the way I would see it. You know, I saw Mike Costello put something out. He kind of went back and forth with me, and he said, I think the security worked exactly the way it was supposed to work. I'm thinking, well, I would think that you wouldn't want somebody running through the hotel with a gun.
Yeah.
Maybe we stop it at that. Maybe if the president
shot a Secret Service agent.
Exactly. And if he'd shot him in the head, it would have been a different story, right? He just happened to shoot him in the chest.
Yeah. He said in his manifesto, he said he was only going to shoot him in the chest.
Oh, he did? Well, we knew in advance.
Yeah, because he said...
what did the manifesto say? I didn't read it. Normally,
essentially, I don't. Essentially, just to summarize, essentially is that Donald Trump is my main target, but members of the administration are the next targets. I don't want to harm. Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, people that were at the dinner inside of the administration, and so he basically had like best case scenario to worst case scenario. You know what I mean?
What was the best case scenario? Trump?
Trump, yes, was Donald Trump. And then the next best is anyone in the administration. And it was interesting because this is the first time I've ever seen a shooter's manifesto where they didn't want to take other people out. You know what I mean? He wrote that he didn't want to harm the Secret Service. He didn't. He was
a more reasonable assassin.
I guess so. So that's just. I don't know.
A more reasoned and sentimental assassin.
Yeah,
it's always nice, right?
Right. Which I mean, tracks with his background essentially because he worked with NASA.
He was trying to fix the brakes on wheelchairs.
Compared to the people that we see that are
Teacher of the Year.
Transgender people that are trying to do these assassinations that are mentally crazy, right?
Right.
But
do you understand where I'm going with on the allowing things to happen? Does that make sense? So you look at Butler.
Oh yeah.
Butler, Pennsylvania, and Americans just roll past whatever happens anymore. To be honest with you, we're going to play something called Everything is Fake here in just a minute that I thought was hilarious. But people don't care anymore.
No.
I wonder if it was this way in the 60s too, because if you look at the 60s, it looks like it was free love and everybody's having a good time and what was going down. I'm like, there's assassination after assassination after assassination after assassination. You have the USS Liberty attack. You have all these things going on. You have the Charles Manson murders. You have all this craziness going on in the 60s. And every time I see people in the 60s, they're go-go dancing with long hair and smoking weed, having a good old time.
I feel like the country got more conservative after that because of it for a short time.
Yeah.
I feel like that they talk about the 60s to the 80s being some golden years, you know what I mean?
They were great.
Economically speaking, I don't I wasn't there, so I don't know, but economically speaking, they say it is. And it seems that kind of liberal rhetoric and the assassinations really woke people up to be more conservative, or maybe that was the plan from the government all along, who knows?
Well, they definitely want us to be more accepting of surveillance.
Oh yeah.
Right. You allow millions of people in here illegally. You take taxpayer money to fund them to live in hotels and to fly around and to eat and to pay for their bills. And you give them phones, which phones was just to track them. Don't kid yourself.
Oh, yeah.
But they allow all this to happen. And then they get mad when culture starts to fall apart. You have millions of people in here that don't even speak the language. They have no assimilation. They don't know our history. They don't know our culture. They don't know anything, but our own government allows it to happen. And then are shocked that people are upset and that people are fighting with one another and that there's crime all over the streets. They're just shocked that would happen. And again, Isaiah, if I could, is this thing on? I'm going to make sure that everybody hears what I have to say here. It is obvious that they're allowing this to happen because they have to save us from the problems that they allowed to happen. I just wish people would see that. I wish every single Republican would see it that way. I would love to debate on it. I would love to debate any Republican that says, Rob, I never really thought about it, but there's 30 million people here illegally. Isn't the government supposed to protect the borders? Doesn't the Constitution say that the federal government is supposed to protect the borders? Let's just do math. If 10% of the people in this country are here illegally and your job constitutionally is to protect the border, well, then we have some treason going on, do we not? Is that, I mean, isn't that what you're supposed to do? They clearly are not protecting the border. It's an invasion. Clearly they're not protecting the border, and yet neither party seems to recognize the treason. They just go, well, it was just a mistake. They have a different ideology. Everything's going to be fine. As I like to say to that. Isaiah. That's what I got to say to that. All right, let's do this because I think this is hilarious.
Did you see the interview? Sorry, not to sidetrack, but we got to talk about the interview sometime with Greg Bavino that he just recently did.
Which one is it?
It's with this young girl that I don't even know who she is, but I've been seeing clips circulate on X because he's basically criticizing the administration that they're not doing the things that they need to do to get the illegals out of the country, which makes sense because he was doing his job and he was trying to do his job, and then he was removed from his job. And so,
what do you think of Trump, Isaiah? What is your take right now? I am so mixed. I'm
compromised.
so mixed.
Compromised.
Trump is like the Trump to me is this is the way I would describe Trump because people ask me how I feel about Trump all the time. People think I hate him. People think that I'm rooting against him and this, that, and the other. Trump to me is, let's say you're 22 years old, right? You're starting to go to the bars. Remember when you turn 22 and you get the first bit of freedom and you're going to the casinos, you're going to the bars, you're going to the nightclubs. You're at your height of your physical, looks, you're young and you're strong and you can stay out till 4 or 5 in the morning and nothing's bothering you. And you start to date somebody. And this is, I'm going to give it from a guy's point of view. You begin to date somebody and she is smoking hot, right? She is the hottest thing going. And you're looking at her going, you are looking fine and more fine every time I look at you. And now you start to date. And she likes you, right? So she's laughing at the jokes. She's coming over. She's making you dinner and you're having wine at night. And you're like, man, I really like this girl. And then she goes home, right? And then you have this relationship where all of a sudden she says, I'm going to call you about 7 o'clock. I'm going out with my girlfriends. I'll call you at 7. And then she doesn't call until the next day. Well, honey, I thought you were going to call me at 7. What happened last night? Oh, you wouldn't believe it. My friend got upset and I just got caught up in it. And then, then you start dating again. She comes over, you like her. And then all of a sudden you're supposed to go out on a Saturday night. She calls you at the last minute. I can't come. And you start to see this happen over and over and over again. And in the back of your mind, you're going, does she have somebody else?
Yeah.
Is something going on? Are there two guys in the scene right here? Yeah. And there's this distrust that you're beginning to build. And now you're starting to look at her and go, I don't know, you're hot, but I don't know if I want to go through the trouble.
Yep.
Right. But the sense of things is that she's cheating on you. The sense of things is that she's misleading you. And the sense of things is that not everything is as it seems. That is my relationship with Donald Trump right now. It's the hot girl when you're in your 20s that you're enamored with. And you want so desperately for her to like you that you're giving her the benefit of the doubt every time she lies to you, every time she doesn't call, every time she doesn't show up, every time something doesn't seem quite right, you give her the benefit of the doubt because you want her to be with you and you want to be with her. That's the way I am with Donald Trump. I want to believe everything that he said. I want to believe what's going on, but I feel like he might have another person in his life.
Yes.
Me, if you understand.
Yeah, I think, great intentions. I think his intentions he has well-meaning intentions because if you look at his Agenda 47, it's everything that we would want.
All the executive orders are the things that you'd want.
It's everything that we would want, but
it's like there's two Trumps. He's the one that tells you all the things that you want to hear. He writes executive orders that you read and you go, my God, this would be so perfect. What's happening here? He explained the fake media. He allowed you to peek behind the curtain. All of the things that all of us, I would say small government populist, small government libertarian type vibe. I mean, I'm a conservative, but I have a libertarian vibe. Don't kid yourself. I don't like when the government's in my business at all. I don't like them surveilling me or you. And I certainly don't want them to have a complete control system when my kids are growing up. I don't like that idea. But I'm conflicted with Trump every day. There are times when I just get so mad and I want to just go, gosh, what is going on here? Can't you see that this man is doing the exact opposite of what he tells you he's going to do? And then on the other hand, I'm thinking,
come on, 5D chess.
The other time, I think it's very possible. I mean, he did make his way through. He's got an enormously loyal fan base, enormously loyal support, and you have to have some kind of charisma to do that. Don't you think?
Absolutely. That's what captured us all. Was the charisma and the no holds bar kind of
I'm not afraid to tell the truth is what Donald Trump, in my opinion, at the very beginning and why people love him so much is he was telling the establishment the things that we were thinking.
Yep.
That's what was happening. He was telling them to stick it. He was telling them that he was going to fix it. He was going to heal all the problems that they have caused. You know, when you stand up at the inauguration, in his first inauguration, and he said, the people behind me, these crooks, these crooks and thieves behind me.
And
That's what he said. He goes,
media.
yeah, the Washington establishment has been gaming you. They have been enriching themselves at your expense. And today we are turning the government back to you, the American people. Well, I mean, you know, I got very excited about all that. And here we are in 2026, and I'm not so sure anymore. That's where I'll put it. I'm just not sure. You know, I don't want to rip the guy apart because I just don't feel it's the right thing to do. I don't want to lie about what I see because I don't think that's right and just, and I don't think people would pay attention to what I have to say if they felt that I was lying to them. But I am conflicted. I'm not a Trump hater. I don't have TDS. I don't have any of that stuff. I think life is going to move on the way it's going to move on. Ultimately, I think God will come to the rescue, and we're going to have a great life, and we're going to party down. It's going to be a good life. But I think that doesn't happen unless we deserve it, and that means you got to get involved. Fair enough? That's the way I look at it.
Trisha Hope put out a great post. Let me see if I can find it really quick.
She just hit 50,000 on her X. I never tried to really.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I never really tried to build a social media platform till now. Now I got to do it, but I never really cared before. Everybody goes, hey, John Berta, the guy from MMTLP, he might be listening today. He goes, Rob's only got like 2,000 followers on X. Let's make that bigger. And I'm like, you know what? I never even really thought about X.
You never tried.
Never even thought about it. I was going to be on radio. What do I need? X or Facebook or. So to get 300,000 views in the first 10 days with no social media presence kind of tells you where this thing is heading, right? If you want to join on to something that is working, Isaiah is the king. I don't know how you do it, Isaiah, but you're making things happen. I got to give you credit.
So Trisha Hope said this today, 2 hours ago. She said, "I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a never Trumper. I'm no longer a Trump supporter. I am still America first." I think that's a great representation of where many, many people find themselves that supported President Trump. And no one, I mean, a lot of people couldn't say that they supported President Trump as hard as Trisha supported President Trump. No. And so to have someone like her saying that is very eye-opening.
And I love her. I think she is just an adorable personality because she was the biggest Donald Trump fan. If you uttered one negative thing about Donald Trump, she just despised you. And I went through it with her a little bit. I mean, we didn't have a falling out, but when I started to question Donald Trump, you know, we used to communicate a little bit through social media, and it kind of faded away. And then when I saw her say, you know, I'm beginning to question these things because when Donald Trump said Epstein was a hoax, she goes, it just changed my view of him, right? You know, it's like anything else. There's a paradigm shift when things happen like that. It's just like we said with the cheating, right? You can have somebody that you love and you love them so much and you come home and they're in bed with somebody else. Immediately your entire impression of who they are and what they're about and your trust and your care for them just changes in an instant. And that's kind of what she said happened to her with Donald Trump when he said the Epstein situation was a hoax. Can we do the it's all fake?
You want to do the all fake? Before we go to the all fake, I did want to let you know, we'll talk about this tomorrow. Dr. Fauci's top advisor, David Morans, was just indicted, hit with conspiracy charges by the Department of Justice for allegedly concealing records during investigations into the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Whatever it is, I feel like it's a scam.
It's a scam. If it's not,
no matter what listen to me. No matter what it is, I believe it to be a scam because COVID. Everybody involved should be in prison. And that means all the Democrats, all of the Republicans, all the people in the media, all the people in the NIH, all of the people in the CDC, all the people in the FDA. They should all be, in my opinion, if I were king, if I could be king for a day, those people would be perp walked because what they did was an absolute obvious, no doubt about it. I say it all the time. It was an obvious fraud. They were all connected. They didn't get it wrong. They didn't get it wrong at all. They were manipulating information from the very beginning. I have podcasts to prove it. I said it was my third podcast that I did all the way back in June of 2020.
Wow.
Was it 21? 2000 and would have been 21? Whatever. 2020 or 21, whenever that was going on. I said, this is data manipulation. How can people not recognize they're putting up the death scoreboards and the case scoreboards all based on data manipulation? How can people not see that? This is so obvious. People couldn't see it because of the fear. As you said, they were peddling fear down their throats.
It's all fake. I thought it'd be a great headline to talk about before this video.
Yeah. So by the way, keep that for me because I do want to see what they're talking about. I would have a feeling that the way this is going to work is the people that really perpetuated the crime are going to skate, and all the people that you've never heard of that you could care less about, they'll take the fall for these monsters. Okay, let's do. This is like a 2 or 3 minute clip. It's all fake. It's not complimentary of Donald Trump, but I still think it was hilarious. It's everything. What's it called? Everything is fake video. This is circulating on social media, and I thought it was great. Check it out.
Breaking news out of Washington, D.C.
No one cares.
That's the real story here. Literally, no one cares. Everyone thinks this is fake. Because of course they do. Because everything is fake. Everything is spectacle and theatrics, which isn't a new thing in the world of politics and media, but the laziness and lack of seriousness with which this circus of an administration is operating has certainly made apathy a mainstream response to it. I mean, he bombed a girls' school in Iran and hasn't owned up to it yet. Of course no one cares that someone allegedly tried to off him. He teamed up with a genocidal maniac to start a war that will not only cost thousands of lives, it will also collapse the entire world economy. For no reason. Why would we care? He has rolled back every conceivable protection for the environment and keeps spreading anti-science propaganda so his friends can make a little bit more money. Why would we care about yet another half-assed assassination attempt? He has done all in his power to destroy the entire Western world order and strengthened Russia and China in the process. Oh no, someone tried to shoot the president again. Just as his poll numbers are tanking. Oh no, what a coincidence. Everything he touches, everyone he surrounds himself with, are fake. Fake lips, fake tits, fake gold, fake pools, fake Bible verses, for crying out loud. False promises to voters, false prophets in his cabinet, false flags for the cameras, and if I may say so, a somewhat subpar acting from the cast this time.
I just want to go find Susan.
What a great idea, Erica. You should go home and stay there. No one cares anymore. And maybe that's the point, I don't know. Not to convince you of anything, not to win, just to make reality so exhausting.
Bingo.
So exhausting to hold on to that we just give in and play along. Or maybe it's just a sad attempt at getting support and funding for his ridiculous ballroom. It's probably, that's probably it, yeah. This is the end of news.
I don't know why that cracked me up. See, that'll make a lot of
European delivery.
You'll make a lot of Trump supporters mad, but it's meant to be humorous. Remember when conservatives laughed even at themselves? I always thought the conservatives could take a joke, and I just think that is so funny because he nails it. And I've talked about it for the last 2 or 3 years. We've talked about the propaganda, right?
Yep.
The propaganda states, and Obama. Where's Obama? We find Obama, and then we'll get done with this show. Where's Obama at? 2-2. Now listen to what he just said, and then listen to what Obama just said, because the idea is never to be right or wrong. The idea is that you're never right or wrong. There's just gray area. There's never a conclusion to anything ever. Isaiah, nothing ever. There's never a conclusion to anything ever. The show must go on. It's like a soap opera, right?
Yep.
If all of the problems were solved on the soap opera, there's no more soap opera. But we get tied into the soap opera. We love the soap opera. So there's narratives, and you wake up and you go, boy, I cannot believe the aliens are coming. The UFOs are here. The spy balloon is coming. The 75th attempt at Donald Trump's life. Is Charlie Kirk dead? Is he alive? Was it the guy on the roof? Was it a bigger plot? Was it Israel? Who was it that killed him? And what's going on with Kash Patel and Dan Bongino? Didn't they say that this was all going to be this Epstein was all going to be taken care of? Now they're fighting against it. Now Donald Trump hates Epstein. Or no, doesn't hate Epstein. He hates all the people that think Epstein was a big deal, but he was the one that brought it to everybody's attention, and they just keep the narratives going. And you know how sometimes a soap opera gets so long that it becomes ridiculous? All the storylines.
It's like, ridiculous. Wait, this is outrageous, right?
Haven't we reached it now where everything is just absolutely absurd and ridiculous? Here is Obama.
Trump turned over Epstein apparently to the FBI. He's the one who ratted him out. There was no other files for us to look at. There's no one implicated in the crimes. Pam Bondi gets an undercover video that there's tons of videos of powerful people sleeping with little kids. We get more files, and now Trump's saying, hey, we don't need to talk about the Epstein files anymore. So,
and it's all scripted theater.
And it's supposed to
all scripted theater. It's all scripted theater.
JP Sears, right? JP Sears is what I think about from that. It's like,
I love
Yeah.
his sarcasm.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
it's-
Exactly.
But it is scripted theater, and I'm telling you, there's a hole with people that can't. And listen, as I said before, you can't prove anything, but you have to use your common sense at some point. If you're using common sense, you would say that in this world today, where everything is being surveilled, that big problems like this would be solved. You would know, and you feel very comfortable with the person that killed Charlie Kirk. You would have a sense of who that is. You would believe one of these stories. You would have so much information out there before you go, that's just got to be, that's the guy that did it. It's just obvious that this person did. That's not going to happen, right? The Butler shooting, right? You got to watch some knucklehead climb up onto a shed with a rifle, point it at the president of the United States of America with Secret Service everywhere and people screaming, "There's a guy on the shed! There's a guy on the shed! The president's right there! There's a guy on the shed with a rifle! He's right there!" Well, first of all, when you ask yourself, you go, let me figure this out. How would this person know that there's going to be a ladder to get on the shed? Let's think about this, because Secret Service is controlling the perimeter, but this guy is able to get a high-powered rifle in shooting distance of the president of the United States with everybody pointing at him. Then he has to know that there's going to be a ladder there. Then he's going to have to climb on it with all of the eyes on him and people screaming. And then he's going to take a shot that kills somebody in the audience and just nick Donald Trump's ear perfectly before Donald Trump addresses everybody with Hulk Hogan at the RNC convention. You look at these things and you start to go, well, wait a minute, it is a little bit kind of crazy. I mean, good Lord. I mean, how in the world could anybody possibly be running Secret Service, allow somebody to climb on a ladder up onto a shed and point a rifle at the president of the United States when there's Secret Service everywhere? How can that possibly happen? Right? It becomes
and
theater.
pictures were being circulated around the Secret Service saying there's pictures of him like taking pictures of the guy.
Yeah.
With the backpack. Oh, hey, there's a suspicious guy with a backpack, but let's not approach him. Let's not talk to him.
Isaiah, there are people listening to us right now or that will listen on the replay that will think we are absolutely absurd for thinking that some of these things are staged.
Yeah.
They just think it's crazy.
And I think they think we think that it's staged in a way that some like really far out there people think.
Right.
But we really just believe that the influence is so powerful that it is influencing these people through a indirect type of mind control,
allowing it to happen.
Yeah, like we talked
Allowing
about. What's his name? Nicholas or the guy who was the
yeah. We gotta have him back on. I liked him.
Yeah, but that's what I think is that it's not
Nicholas Spahn.
Not the control that we think of, right? But really influencing people.
Well, it's never. Remember who was it? The guy that worked for Obama that said, "Never let a good tragedy go to waste." You know what I'm talking about? He said, "Never let a good crisis or tragedy go to waste." Rahm Emanuel. So what I'm saying is, I don't know whether anything is staged in the sense that 3, 2, 1, action. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you allow certain things to happen. You allow them to happen because you know there's going to be a response. You don't care if somebody in Secret Service or somebody in the hallway gets killed at this particular place. So you're surveilling this guy. You know what his intentions are. He gets into the Hilton Hotel. All of a sudden, he shoots somebody. You know you've got 3 levels of security before you get to the president, but you allow a situation to happen, and then you get political expediency out, or a political advantage out of it, I guess I should say. Right? This is what we're talking about.
Not trying to rile us up, but we just saw with Netanyahu on October 7th.
Exactly, and Charlie Kirk called it out.
Yep.
You got to see it with the USS Liberty attack. Same thing. Gulf of Tonkin. Same thing.
Yeah.
Right. Probably 9/11. Maybe the same thing. I mean, we've been in war since 9/11. And what did we get out of it, Isaiah? What did we get out of war?
So much.
So you were born in what?
Benefits.
What are you born in 92?
Yeah.
So you're born in 92. So you're born in 92. You get to see 9/11 as a young person. Do you recognize that since we've been at war in the Middle East for the last 6 years, has life gotten substantially better for you as we've spent 8, 9, 10, 50, 60, 80 trillion dollars in the Middle East, and our livelihoods and our surveillance is going up, and our kids are indoctrinated with a bunch of nonsense, and we got transgender surgery and open borders, and nobody speaks English anymore? Has life gotten any better since we spent those $1 trillion in the Middle East?
No,
Can you answer that question for me?
I think the war made a lot of people go more liberal in their ideologies and their beliefs, and that's why Obama won the election. I think that a lot of people.
If he won, you don't even know if he won.
Yeah, I know, right?
You don't even know if he won, but it doesn't matter because
right?
Exactly, because let's say that Obama loses. Who does he lose to? John McCain. He's the same as Obama.
A great Republican, right?
And then the next one is Mitt Romney. If Mitt Romney or Obama would have won, you wouldn't have got anything different. It would have been exactly the same, except for what they tell you on TV. Everything else would have been the same. Here's Barack Obama, explaining propaganda one more time for the people in back.
If you want propaganda to be effective,
yep, I do. Tell me how it works.
You don't have to convince people that what you are saying is true. You just have to flood the zone with so much poop. They use a different word, but you have to flood the zone with so much untruth constantly that at some point people don't believe anything.
Sounds like APAC.
Jack! That's a fact, Jack!
There it is.
Yeah, sounds like APAC, what Aaron Baker was just talking about with Randy Fine's budget, right? Well, if we just flood enough mailboxes with this picture with him and Trump, people will vote for him.
That's it. And think how sad that is.
I know.
Think how sad that is. We got to roll. I mean, we're running late. I keep
know.
running you late, but I'll just. He's talking about Volusia County won 30 points for Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So, and I think People's Lobby Missouri, we need to take a hint from what went down here. What they did is there's a very popular cross section in Orange in Orange City, right? Very popular cross section. It's where Publix is the big grocery store around here. So it's a main intersection where these two roads cross in Orange City. And every weekend they would have 100, 200, 300 people out there waving their flags with Make America Great Again hats. And it created this went on for months. This wasn't like they did it one weekend. They did it every weekend leading up to the elections. And as people were driving by, you'd hear the honking horns. If you stopped your car, they would run over and they'd hand you a flyer. If you waved them over, they'd come over and hand you a flyer, this type of thing. It is that level of participation that our entire country needs to feel. There has to be time in your life to save your country from complete surveillance, freedom of speech going away, being
Zionist occupation.
Your 10th Amendment rights going away. You don't even have control of your own surroundings now because the federal government has bought off your states, right? And I think it's worthy of a conversation first, organization second, action third. It's worthy of those things. And again, last plug of the day, if you check out our website, and we're going to clean everything up. I was talking to Kristen yesterday. She's going to be working on the website with us. So we'll do the People's Lobby Missouri website, and we'll have a website for the show. And if it's the show, it's the expansion of the show, right? You're gonna say, Rob, I would like you to have better cameras. I want you to be able to go to Washington, D.C. and get into the Capitol and start asking Randy Fine questions and Thomas Massey questions and Lauren Boebert questions. And I want you to ask Elon Omar questions. I want you to, because I will ask really, really, really good questions. I'm not going to be like these people that do it up there now, because that's all show. Okay. Mm-hmm. They have to let us into the halls. Now they may run, they may hide, but they have to come out. They have to come in, right? I'm going to get up there and ask them questions that you want to hear answered.
Yep.
That's the only difference. We're independent. We're not trying to bend down and bend the knee to anybody but the truth. That's it. That's where we come from. So if you want to expand the show and you want me to go out and you want me to do some of those things and you want us to be able to afford it so that we can do it, we're beholden to you. That's the way it'll work. And the advertisers, which I love. I love these advertisers so much that come along with me. I really appreciate it. And then secondly, if you want to donate to People's Lobby Missouri, that can be from around the country. It doesn't have to be just from Missouri. It's People's. Will you pull that up for me?
Yep.
peopleslobbymo.com. What are you going to get with peopleslobbymo.com? Well, right now you're not getting much of anything. Quite honestly, we're banking the money and we're building an infrastructure. So for anybody that thinks some miracle is going to happen in the next 30 or 60 days, it's not real. It's not realistic. What we want to do is create a marketing pressure campaign. Why is marketing so important? Marketing raises awareness. Why do you buy Nike shoes? Mm-hmm. I could give you
you can make an ad like that Randy Fine ad.
Yep, I can give you 100 brands that are just as good as Nike, but they've sold you on the Nike idea. Just do it, and then all the sports agents or sports players wear them, and this, that, and the other. So now Nike has become a part of our culture. But I can give you many, many brands that are better and less expensive. Okay, but you don't know those brands because they don't market. They don't tell you how great they are. What People's Lobby Missouri intends to do is to create pressure on the system so that they either acquiesce to our wishes or they have a conversation with us, but we are going to crack them eventually. They're already starting to fight back. What did we talk about right before we came on the show, Isaiah?
Yep.
Some of the big hitters are starting to come after the show, right? Do I need security when I come to town? I don't know. I was talking to my wife the other day and I said, I don't know that I want to live in Missouri now. I said, because it feels like, even though I don't feel like I'm doing anything crazy, I'm just trying to get people to communicate with me. I'm calling out what I think is injustice. I'm calling out what I think are obvious con jobs, obvious misinterpretations of the truth to the people and the voters of Missouri. But we found out what happened to Jeffrey Winehouse, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to worry about these things. And I said to my wife, is it just better to be in Florida and go back to St. Louis? Because I feel like if I go to St. Louis and I make a mistake on the MEC filings, or I do something that they want to come after me for, they can just put their thumb on top of me and destroy me and do exactly what they did to this Michael Castellero. Now they say Rob is I don't know what I don't know. I'm a flawed person, but they can make up anything about me and destroy my reputation. And I would ask that if that does begin to happen, because I could see that beginning to happen, I really can see that start to take shape. If that begins to happen, I just want to remind everybody, I raised 5 kids, 2 more with my new wife, 7. I'm married to a woman that I met when I was 12 years old. I coached baseball for a very elite organization for years and years and years. I have friends at every level in Missouri that you can think of, from janitors to former ball players to highly powered executives to political figures, everybody. If they start to come after my reputation, I just want you to remember the realities of the situation. I'm 56 years old, certainly not perfect. There's certainly skeletons in my closet that you can pick out, and I'll be honest about each and every one of them. But if they smear my reputation into somebody that I'm not, because I've created too much pressure on the state of Missouri, I just ask you to come to my defense. That's it. Just come to my defense. That's all I'm asking for. If it can't be just me and Isaiah. It can't be just Act for Missouri. It can't be just the Shield Maidens of Missouri. It can't be Unite for Freedom. It has to be the totality of the people that see what is happening, walking together to make sure that their government does right by them. And that's it. And that's how it's all going to work. Isaiah?
That's it. That's all we asked for.
Can I end on that one?
I think that's great.
All right, brother. I'll be in touch with you later. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9. What do we got tomorrow, by the way? Do we have anything going on tomorrow that I'm aware of?
Let me see on the calendar here.
Feels like we had
something. We got an exciting week. Nothing tomorrow. We do want to start promoting. Ann Vandersteel is going to be on Thursday morning. Ann Vandersteel will be with us 10 a.m. Central Time.
She'll talk about that Michael Castellero case too, and then she's got another. She's got 2 or 3 stories that she wants to share with me. We'll have her on Thursday. I think there are a couple people that want to be on tomorrow, and I just haven't said yes to them yet. So I might be in touch with you tomorrow to get these other people on. Other than that, have a great day, everybody. Again, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on the Robb Carter Show. Have a great day.